And we're on. I got the Dan Filato point. You're going to get another treat in modern day broadcasting. Just Lang and Filato on the dish behind you. We are doing a podcast, just the two of us. And we're belting out number 296. No, 294. Number 294. That's right, Danny. And, yeah. 294, which means we're going to go into vacation at about 296, which means we're like A-Rod, who played his last game for the Yankees at 696 home runs with those pillowy pink lips, who is probably now using them on somebody. God knows who. I hope he's in a threesome with a dude and he accidentally gets a dick in his mouth.
Oh.
How great would that be? Oh, that would be so great. A-Rod's like double teaming some chick with Lance Bass. and by the way, we didn't talk enough about Lou Pearlman, of course. Speaking of dicks in their mouth. Now, what was the thing on Lou Pearlman, Dan? You hear this at the meetings, I'm sure.
I don't know anything about Lou Pearlman.
By the way, there's a commercial on. It's so funny for Xarelto. Like, I watch all these news programs. It's all old people stuff. Xarelto, I guess, is a pill you take for diabetes or something. And it's one of those things where again, there should be a documentary made on side effects for these pills. The fact that you have to say some of these things, it's everything. You get diarrhea, you get constipation. You could be blind, you could see better. It's unbelievable. You can throw up, you can never throw up. What's going on? What's going on here? Your ears could bleed.
Well, it's all lawsuits.
I know. I'm saying they have to say it all, but first of all, Jimmy Kimmel checking Hillary Clinton's pulse. I mean, come on. What is going on? What are we going to elect? What does she wear? She's on Kimmel. She's wearing a red Star Trek suit. Who's her campaign manager? Gene Roddenberry? And his hair, then they cut the Trump's hair, which is very odd. It's almost cliche, but it's a very odd color. Anderson Cooper's hair is all white.
Well, we know why. That's an odd color.
Setting up Dan for that hacky joke. It's all white. And we know what Dan was getting at. He's saying that because he's gay, somebody came all over his head and cum is white. Which is the best way to... Again, that's the best way I've ever heard a racial argument ended. I think I might have said this before. The black guy had no comeback. It was in a bar in the late 80s, in just outside of Newark, New Jersey. It was what we called a stag bar. Legs and eggs. Tits and grits. We had breakfast at a strip club, and it was legs and eggs. It was great. Bass and ass. Tits and grits.
I was, of course, at the Cocks and Locks.
You were?
No.
My God. It's just dying to come out, Dan. Just let it out. Let it out.
All you got to do is go on my Twitter. That's all it is all
Let
day.
it out. Tits and grits. That's what I say, tits and grits. I say bass and ass. Dan goes Cocks and Locks.
One of the best steaks I've ever had is in a strip club across the river from Detroit.
Uh-huh. It's called Canada.
Yeah, and
Windsor.
That's the name of it. Yeah.
Windsor has great.
Oh man!
Again, did you notice women were there? I've never heard somebody say something that good about the food in a strip club. Who even notices the food? Man, I was at a strip club, and you think like you're that passionate. You think the guy's gonna go, "Whoa, what great women!" Man, that steak.
The women were beautiful too.
Yeah, well, that's an afterthought. Sure, that's an afterthought that there were naked women there. The first thought is, man, that red meat.
I had a nice ribeye.
Man, that ribeye. Oh man, that was some good meat. I was in a strip club, and God, the beef that was going into my mouth, the meat. The cooked male calf. And then the woman. I'm not talking about Windsor. I'm talking about working for a living. I'm talking about sharking.
Newark.
Yeah. So we were at legs and eggs, bass and ass, and I forget what I was going to say now. Is that a funny joke?
White.
The white and the black guy. So black guy and white guy would always say, and they got drunk. The arguments got very drunken and very stupid. Both guys were bright guys, and then they would, the booze would make it devolve into awful, just hacky, shitty shit. But this was the best way to end that argument. And it started to go, it always got into religion. So they would go, God God was really black, the black guy would say. And clearly he made himself in his own favorite color. He said, God considered black to be good. So, that's why all this bullshit, like with the language, like, Black Sunday and everything, that's made up by white people, which is what you hear in Malcolm X when he's when he's flipping Malcolm X. The guy goes, let's look up black, dark, evil, Black Sunday. So he said, and the guy goes, I got proof. The white guy goes, I'll tell you exactly why. God, you agree God made us, right? And all that we do, yeah. God made our body and all the functions of our body, yeah. I got a great argument. The argument that it's case closed. Why he likes white better. Right? What color is shit and what color is cum? And I got to tell you, you think about it, you go, wow, that's deep. That is deep. He clearly likes white better. Shit and cum. Think of those two things. Dan, again, Charlie Rose is going to have me on for this. Dan, when I argue like
you
this,
and Stephen Hawking.
Well, when I argue like this, Dan, it's like I have a master's degree in arguing, but then I have this other amazing arrow in my quiver, where I can be humorous. Yes, I'll never stop thinking about that. I've already lost sleep over that Key or Peele guy doing it. So So what color? Well, let's examine this, guys. I said, wow, and the black guy went, dude, you got me. He went, dude, you got me. And this is a guy who never gave up an argument. He's a Vietnam vet. He dated a white chick who was a stewardess for I think American Airlines. That's how far back this was. I think she worked for National. Now, she worked for like United or something. Newark was her hub, and she was a white. She always had her stewardess outfit on, and she always had two very bruised eyes.
Oh man,
she did. And she would try to take the African American gentleman who she was living with. She would try to take his Pabst Blue Ribbon from him sometimes because she thought he had enough, and he would make this noise and grab it from her, and then she would be startled and start to cry. Then she'd come back in the bathroom fine, all dolled up, with some white under her nose and very chipper. Seemed to be a very nice relationship. The white guy had the same exact relationship with an Hispanic girl. All races were represented in the rather, not the most flattering of ways. But, the guy was like, yeah, man, you got me. I can't think, because, again, and this is going to get kind of graphic, but this is how I think. Like, what is shit? First of all, cum represents wonderfulness. Cum represents like the best feeling in the world. When you see cum, you're like, wow. If you see it, it means it didn't go into a vagina, so there's no chance of a pregnancy. So that's great. But it also represents a great feeling, like, oh, God, how great. Oh, the whiteness. Oh, how white. And again, no glass half empty, half full. I've always said like Obama's half full. I've always been a president half white kind of guy. I'm a positive thinker. Oh, the whiteness. Oh. But then if you're a married couple and you don't see the cum, it's in your wife's vagina. What's it doing? Creating new life. It's the magic of new life. Swimming around in all that whiteness are white things we call sperm. Ejaculate. And they're swimming around looking to create new life. And it keeps the world going. And it's just a start. It indicates beginning. And there's no scent to it. There's not a scent to come. It's just there. Because I'll tell you, if you're eating out a chick, you don't want any scent. You don't. You don't want any scent at all. You don't want it to smell good, because that means she probably put something there and it's masking something.
Oh, God.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You don't want it to smell like lemon jello Montana Spring fresh. You don't want it to smell like French Island of the Bahamas freshness. No, because she slathered it on there because it's probably masking something that's black. No, some darkness. So that's what cum is. It represents new life or pleasure. You want to see it. And what does shit represent? As soon as you see shit, you're like, oh, it's disgusting. Oh my God, it's gross and it stinks. And you want to immediately get it out of your house. You go, how do I get that out of my... And one of the first things we worked on, white people invented a way to get it out of their house. Do you know how rich the guy who invented plumbing is? So what does that represent? It represents a stinky thing that you don't want to see anymore. And it represents the end of life. It represents when it's all over. It could just, at that point, if you leave it in your body, it'll harden. It'll become septic, green, and evil. And you'll want it out of your body. If it stays in your body, it'll grow. It'll grow into something you don't know. And it could grow into something that has an amazing arrow in its quiver.
I feel like I'm watching one of those Sunday morning ministers.
Well, this is what this
one
is.
Of those big churches.
This is the racist Joel Osteen. This is the Klan. This is what the Klan says on Sunday. And if you leave a black turd in you, if you leave a turd in you, it will become stinky. It will become something so disgustingly stinky and septic, it'll be an infection. It'll be an infection. And then it'll spread its infection all over your house. And before you know it, the black turd is on the white thing that you love. Spreading its... And then it turns into a brown thing. And then it turns a little less brown. Yeah, so God said, I'm going to... The ejaculate sperm, come, I'm going to make the color that represents all that is wonderful. And this is not me talking, it's God. I'm not saying this. And then what am I going to...
You're just his vessel.
Right. I'm not... What am I going to make shit? What is God going to make shit the color of? We've all shit. I shit this morning. And what happens when some of the shit gets on your sheets that you're wearing to the meeting?
Oh.
What does it represent? It represents a dark stain. When you see someone like our Grand Klugel, Andy Abernathy over there, who took over the Jew delis, and he'll be getting a commendation for it. When you see him come here, one of his ne'er-do-well drug-doing cousins has a piece of shit stained on his sheets, you get sad for the brother or sister, and you want to help them out of the meeting. So that's every time I think of it more and more, my thoughts get more racist sounding. Now, I do not know any black person who's ever smelled to the point where I want them out of my house. I know white people that have. I do. I've known some smelly white motherfuckers. Matter of fact, the black kids I went to high school with, their houses were immaculate. Their mothers were like, I couldn't sit on the couch. Could you imagine? They thought me a white person. The point is, they were just wonderful people. And the point of this is how silly the argument of race is. It's actually this dumb. There's white guys and black guys, whatever. Okay, we get invaded, we're all together. How's that sound? When they come for us, we'll all have to wear what Hillary Clinton wears. Star Trek. But yeah, so that is the only time I heard. That's the only time someone backed down in that argument. The black guy actually said, "You know what? I can't." The black guy actually said, "I don't have time to think of an argument for the cum and shit thing that'll win and beat up my girlfriend instead."
Oh God!
There's not enough hours in the motherfucking day. So yeah. Now everything you just heard me say can be taken out of context.
No.
You know what I mean? You know, these politically correct people, I don't know, the Huffington Post, they go, Artie Lang, well, how does she talk? Artie Lang, this is Artie the Huffington. I'm actually, I'm in a clearly in American, he. Artie Lang is saying that shit is the colour of black people. He said that plumbing was invented to get black people out of their house. No, you're twisting my words. I did not say that we invented plumbing to flush a black person out of your home. That's what you said. That's how we interpret that from the Post. This is Matt Judge of the Judgington Post. This is the Judge Report. And I'm Matt Judge. And I'm saying, no, that's not what he said. Once again, Huffington Post, you're misconstruing it. You're like Breitbart. I did not like Breitbart. I the Huffington Post. I say that Artie Lang is here. That the black people stick a lick of shit on the tail of the plumbing. He want the plumbing out of the house, and the white people represent life and wonderfulness. And all that's good is white, and all that's shitty is black. No, that's not what he said. Again, this is Matt Drudge. That is terrible. That is terrible. That's stereotypical. What you're saying, you're putting words in his mouth. No, I'm not. I'm putting a shit in his mouth. This is Ian Huffington. I'm going on the Bill Maher show. I'm going to do the new rules with the Bill Maher. You understand the Bill Maher? And I'm going to say to Artie Lang, you're going to kick you out of the show business because I listen to your podcast. I love your podcast. I pay the $6.95 a month. I follow Steve Torelli on the Twitter. Vinnie Monroy making a song about me. And Vinnie Monroy say Artie Lang and at the racist, he say this shit in the comment. I say he's a racist. Because he claims, I don't think those two people even existed in his story. I say he making it up. He never go legs and eggs. There's no such thing. Well, first of all, there is such thing. And it doesn't have to be men and women. Do you understand? Not that I know about that. I'm saying. This is the Drudge closet. I mean, report. I mean, you're drudging up some bullshit. This is Matt Drudge packing. I mean, I'm sorry. You see, you're getting all this racist, homophobic. You're not Matt Drudge. You're actually Artie Lang talking like a Matt Drudge. And you're implying that Matt Drudge is a certain thing. How am I doing that? You're doing an inflection and device, eh? Just like you're saying I'm from Switzerland or something. I'm not saying that. Where are you from, Ariana? I'm from America. Bullshit. You think I'm not American? No. Where do you think I'm from? I don't know, but you're not American. Not where I'm come from, you're not American. Fine. But I still think I'm the racist. And then if you let the producer, he's yelling behind the cock-a-rabbin. He loves the cock-a-rabbin Rick Steves. Now you sound Italian. What do you say, Italian? You sound like a no-talent dick wipe. Okay, I give you that.
I know she was born in Greece.
Oh, yes.
Ariana Huffington.
Well, guess why I love Greece? I love Greece, too. Why do you love Greece? Certain things, certain aspects of their culture. What do you like about the Greek culture? Well, I don't know. I was center on a football team there. The worst joke ever. You mean you bend over? You like the Greek? Well, I like when I go to a diner, I like my Greek salad served in the rear. You like the Greek salad served in the rear? And you say you Judge Packer? I get it. How stupid. Those are the dumbest jokes I ever hear. And I like Bill Maher. I like smart comedians. I like a comedian. What do you like about Bill Maher? I'm a fan as well. Well, I like the new rule. Oh, I love new rules. New rules. Can you do new rules for us? An example? Okay. New rule. You're stupid. And I'm smart. Because I don't believe in the God. You believe in the God. You're stupid. I'm smart. New rule. Excellent. That's my favorite new rule, too, when he says you're stupid. When he says I'm stupid and he's smart. I love that. That never fails to make me laugh. But I'll tell you this. What? My favorite person ever in the motion picture is who? Ever in the motion picture, my favorite is who? I love my favorite writer is Paul Schrader. I love Lance Bass. And I love Lou Pearlman. You love Lou Pearlman? So do I. We talk about the new permit. But, okay, well, I'll end this bit this way, though. What? I'm going to say this. What color is shit, what color is cum? Oh, you get me again. That's a drop of the mic moment. Now I'm completely Italian. I don't know how I went to Italian. How did I go to Italian? You see, we would win Party Awards. We would win Emmy Awards. If I could just keep an accent longer. And even the Drudge thing was, I was making. If you Google Drudge, you might know what I was doing there. You know what I mean? If you Google him, you might know the inflection. Why I was doing a certain inflection. But at the end, I had fucking Huffing and Puffing. I like the guy in The Godfather dancing at the wedding. But we all know that. Sometimes when you hear two people arguing in a bar, sometimes someone says something that sounds stupid but is very intelligent. Dan, your thoughts?
I agree.
Thank you. Thank you. New rule. So take what you want from that. Speaking of racism, Roger Ailes. That story just gets more and more wonderful. Roger Ailes, the enormously fat guy who started Fox News with Rupert Murdoch. What's his story? Murdoch's financed it, and Roger Ailes was his brainchild. Like, what is?
Yes.
Was Roger Ailes the number 2 guy there?
Yes.
What color is number 2?
He was pissed off that he. Do you remember Paul Simon, Senator Paul Simon? He always wore the bow tie.
Yes.
He ran for president.
Yes.
Okay, so Paul Simon was running against this woman in Illinois, and he almost lost, but he won, and that was Roger Ailes' last campaign, and he was so irritated.
So again, the Dan Filato way of telling a story. So Roger Ailes was what? He worked for politicians,
right? And
he was known for now we know. Okay.
And
well, you know how to tell that story better, right?
Yeah.
You start off by going, Roger Ailes was a campaign manager. He was known for that.
I thought you said that.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
All I said was, who is he? Roger Ailes was known for running campaigns.
Right.
And the last campaign that he won was Paul Simon barely winning.
He lost.
So he represented the woman.
Right.
Okay, now we're up to stuff. Go ahead.
And he was so infuriated by that, they've been conversing that they needed some type of right-wing television.
Talking. Okay, yeah.
Right. And he'd been talking about it for years. And
now Murdoch also, you got to remember, people, Murdoch owned the New York Post, I believe New York Newsday. They made him sell Newsday because he owned Fox as well. Right. So there was a government regulation that you couldn't in the same city own 2 media outlets that were the same type of media. In other words, you couldn't own 2 newspapers. You couldn't own 2 news networks. You couldn't own 2 newspapers. So he had the network, the New York Post, and Newsday. He had to sell one of the newspapers, and of course he elected to sell Newsday. So he also extended his tentacles into Chicago and had the Chicago Sun-Times. So he was talking, because he had that kind of power and leaned to the right. He realized Rupert Murdoch did too.
Yes.
And they were talking about starting a news network that became Fox.
Fox.
Okay. So Murdoch says, I'll be the money guy.
And you be the brains.
Right. Okay. There you go. Is Ailes a Chicago or New York guy?
No, I think he's East Coast, but I don't.
East Coast.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's based in New York, and they start Fox News.
Yep.
Right. And so basically it's his baby. I mean, that's a big deal, squeezing him out of there. That's a tough birth. But, okay, now, so why? Why did you get... So realize, that, first of all, not only is he the head muckety-muck in charge, he also really does seem to have the respect of people for... He's one of those guys where even if you hate him, you respect how amazing he is at what he does. He's basically a media genius, right? Would you say?
Absolutely.
A media marketing genius.
Absolutely. Fox makes tons of money.
Right. And Murdoch is, I mean, think of the money they made. Think of that. And they still own the New York Post.
Right.
And any news camp, any election, you read the New York Post, you'll see how insanely biased they are. And the Daily News is now run by people who are the other way. New York newspapers really have a tug of war going on, and it's going to be this way for a while. The Daily News was always sort of moderate. The New York Times, always known for being to the left. Always. As I call it, the Gray Lady. It was called the Gray Lady because it refused to have, the colored pictures, pictures in color. If it had colored pictures. Do you in the New York Times have colored, take your pictures? What? The colored guys take your pictures. Excuse me? And I mean, you have colored pictures. How are you being deceptive? You know, people were sad. It was like when my cousin saw Springsteen working out. People were sad when the New York Times had pictures of, that were colored pictures. Like the Wrigley and the Cubs and Wrigley with
the lights.
The lights. So, the New York Times is now in the middle. The New York Times is considered moderate, because the Post is way to the right. Attila the fucking Hun, right. And then the Daily News is getting there with the left. So that's in the middle. Daily News was always the moderate one. It was the Post, the Real to the right, and then, of course, the Times definitely to the left. But now it's politically, people are taking their ground and keeping with it, no matter what. And to me, that is dangerous. It's dangerous to have less and less of a gray area, because that means less and less of a place to like talk things out, a place to reason. If everybody's no matter what, because there's people now no matter what. If your guy says it and he's representative of the right, he's right. No matter what, if the left is the same way. You can't have a good conversation like that. You can't have an argument. You can't reason with people. It's ridiculous. And Roger Ailes is representative of all the way to the right in a lot of people's opinions. But there's people coming around now that are, they're ISIS. The shit that's going on there. So all these. So think of the power he had. So political correctness comes along. I'm not blaming it on that, but I don't know. Is there one thing in this? Let me ask you this, Dan. This is because take this seriously, because I'm in my head. I'm like, I'm really asking myself this question. He's painted as the bad guy in all this, Roger Ailes, and obviously we're goofing on him. 90% of the people when we do this probably don't know who Roger Ailes is. He's a big fat guy who just has the the media guru that he is. We just described, and he looks like Charles Lawton. If you Google him, he's the guy from Mutiny on the Bounty with Marlon Brando. It's like, hey, bring me with a big chin. So that's the bit I'm doing. Kind of convoluted, but if you just laugh at the voice, fine. It's hard to get people to know who he is. But he's basically was forced to leave. What we just described, I mean, who could have more influence at a place? It was his baby. He was forced to leave because a lot of the women that he hired, he's also the guy who started the smoking hot chick who knows how to say the word rhetoric.
That's for sure.
You know what I mean? He got the smoking hot chick there. He's like, let's step it up. Why does it have to look like Walter Cronkite when we're talking? Let's make it the Playboy Mansion with political views. And these hot chicks who he gave jobs to and gave credibility to are now turning on him like the filthy sluts they are. Are you saying the filthy sluts? I heard you. He didn't say sluts. Shut the fuck up. It's Iron Huffington. No, they're not filthy sluts. Well, again, we're not a news place. I can do whatever I want. But they're saying, Roger grabbed me. Roger, by the term sexual assault. Now we're getting into the whole Kurt Metzger thing. But I defend Kurt. Not if he's a rapist, I don't defend him. But come on, the liberal circles, the liberal wagons are circling around him. He's getting cut loose by people. Put it that way. I'm not for cutting loose a guy until we got every fact in. But, what do you think that one of these stories, a million of them are coming out. Originally, it was Gretchen Carlson filed a lawsuit claiming he sexually assaulted her or sexually abused her or said something sexual, blah, blah, blah. No physical contact. There's a gray area. Then some other people said, he said something to me that was weird. Someone said, he called me a Puerto Rican sweetie or something.
I'm just upset when he called Greg Gutfeldt.
He said he thought Greg Gutfeldt was gay. Okay, what does that mean? He has ears and eyes? I called Greg Gutfeldt gay. What does that mean? His visions and hearing is perfect?
And something that he said I know would hurt you, that Dana Perino is a lesbian.
Yeah. Did he say that?
Yeah. That's in that story.
Well, did you see your husband? Whatever.
The dog walker?
Okay. She, at the end of the show, the 5 today. Dana Perino she's smoking hot. She's real conservative. I guess she used to work for Bush. And she works at the 5. She's one of the co-hosts of the 5. Okay. Someone told the 5 they were funny. Those are two people that suffer from, people think they're funny and they're not funny. Greg Gutfeldt goes, hey guys, he's the turd. He's the thing that stinks that you want to get out of there. Not Juan Williams. Him. And there's one liberal, Juan, and he's the guy you like. And I don't know. I don't know what I like over there because I dislike them all so much. But there's smoking hot chicks there, and she's one of them. The other one is, I guess, is Puerto Rican. The other one's a real hot chick with big tits. And she claims that Roger Ailes called her Puerto Rican. Okay, so he has a map he knows how to read. You claim you're Puerto Rican every day. You yell it out. You're all proud of it. I'm Puerto Rican. Yeah, we're proud of it too. Now shut up. Now shut up. And get in the car with 40 of your cousins. Can't get me fired, cunt. Only Steve Sorelli can fire me. And he's fine with that joke. But this Dana chick is married to a guy. I guess she was the press agent. She was the press person
for Bush
at the White House for Bush. Major stuff. Clearly a very smart woman. And she's married to a guy who I think has been emasculated a bit. I don't think he has much to do at home. I don't know if he has a job. She ends the show, The Five Today, by going, "Yay, guys!" Big graphic. They spent time on a graphic. Her I don't know what her husband's name. We'll call him Gummo.
Peter.
Gummo Perino. Not just Peter Perino, whatever. Gets pilot's license today. That's what it said. A picture of him. He got his pilot's license.
Oh.
And she gets the whole table to clap, and then Gutfeldt goes in Roger Ailes' defense, a rather effeminate way. Tell him how he got a license. Why? To fly their dog to North Carolina.
Oh, no!
I guess they got another house there or something, and she doesn't have time. And she'd like him to get the dog to North Carolina in a timely fashion, so he takes a pilot course. What has happened? Does he drop her off at work? Honey, okay, here's tomorrow. Honey, it's Dana. I've made your to-do list for tomorrow. Okay. 9 a.m. we got up together. We both blow the dog. I'll take one nut. You take the other. I'll work his nuts. I'll work his enclosure. I'll finger his doggy asshole. You blow him. He ejaculates in you. He comes in your face and shits in mine.
Oh, God.
Okay, then we all have a bath together. We boil each other's faces. Then we feed each other. Then we get dressed. I dress the dog. I dress you. I like to dress you first because it's disturbing. I don't want you naked while we're dressing the dog. So I'll dress you, and then you just straighten your tie and everything like a good boy, and you come in and make sure I check it. I'll dress the dog. Then I'll get dressed. I'll allow you time to masturbate with the Glamour magazine. Or Sports Illustrated. And then we'll all get in the car. And my driver, who works for Fox, will take us to the doggy daycare center. He'll drop me off at my work. And he'll take you to the pilot license place that I'm paying for. And when you get your pilot degree, you call me, and I'll announce it on the air. And that's what happened. They're clapping. Juan Williams and that other guy the other guy looks like, the other guy in the middle looks like every general manager at a Midwestern TV station in the 1970s.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's what he looks like.
That's perfect. That's exactly.
Guys, I got the numbers.
We're taking on water.
Right. Is Jack Buck here? Tell him Eddie Danielson's here. Tell him Mr. Danielson's here. Guys, I've got the numbers. And we are losing. We're a local station. We're losing with Cardinal games. How's that happening? I don't know. Fuck off. He looks like a better coiffed Lou Grant. Very conservative. And, he's clapping for the guy getting a pilot license. And inside he's going like, Jesus Christ.
Isn't there an age limit? Her husband's like 20 years older than her.
I don't know.
Remember, he was British and 20 years older.
Maybe it was doggy years. I don't know.
He's like 62.
Who knows? Who remembers these things? The same guys who have a steak and a fucking strip club. That's what they were excited about today. So terrible. So here's the thing about Roger Ailes. In these stories, did he do anything that you think is so bad? Is there any smoking gun in these stories where a guy of his stature should be thrown out? Because you know what? I don't think so. There's nothing he's done. What happened? What happened? He called someone toots or something? I don't know what the fuck. Everyone's so uptight. You're getting rid of Roger Ailes, the brain trust. You better be careful. There's going to be a shakeup. Bill O'Reilly's slathering at the lips. He's claiming to leave. He ain't leaving. He ain't going nowhere. He wants to run the place and be on the air. He wants to be Ailes and O'Reilly. And he'll get it. It'll be a power struggle with him and Hannity. Look out, baby.
And he wants to take the Puerto Rican chick to his house.
What's the hot chick's Puerto Rican? She says it every day. It's a fat white guy who calls her Puerto Rican. Come on. I'll throw him in the who's gal. Do you think there's anything so bad here, a smoking gun? I don't think so.
No. I've never worked at a place that,
right.
Gretchen
Carlson, look how I treat you. Gretchen Carlson claims it was sexual assault. Okay, now listen. If it really was, lock him up forever.
Right.
I have a sister, it's like, she works with gay guys. But, I have a sister, it's like, you don't tolerate that. If you're truly sexually assaulted, again, you have to define what sexual assault is. I don't know what it is. That's the other problem. But if someone breaks the line and crosses the line and actually breaks a law, whatever that is, bye. Fuck arresting him. I'll be the first online with a baseball bat to hit him in the fucking fat chin he has. It could be a thin chin. I'm not talking about Roger Ailes in particular. So, but I don't know. There's nothing here. It seems like they want to do it, right? They want to say something. What is this? You have a wild side. What falafel fantastis Bill O'Reilly alleged fucked new association ties. He tried to lure her to his private. Okay, so Billy O'Reilly.
So he asked her out. What's the big fucking deal?
Do you realize how high your voice gets? I can't even get that high.
Like 40% of people meet their husband or wives at work.
I guess. But is he married, Bill O'Reilly?
No, he's not married anymore.
Oh, he's not. Okay.
No.
Oh, all right. So he asked her out. Exactly. It could be him trying to be. I watch Bill O'Reilly. He thinks that he hangs out with Dennis Miller, he's funny. No, Dennis Miller's funny. Dennis Miller is a comedic genius. Dennis Miller is one of the best comics of all time, as far as I'm concerned. He's with Bill O'Reilly, and he likes Bill O'Reilly. You can tell. And I bet when they banter, it's kind of funny. But O'Reilly's alone, he thinks he's Dennis Miller.
Right.
He really does.
Bill O'Reilly has what we call the Dan Patrick Rich Eisen disease.
He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's Miller. He calls him Miller, too. Hey, Miller over here. And he was trying to be funny. He's horribly unfunny. I mean, there's no law against that, I don't think. Otherwise, I wouldn't have an arrow in my quiver. I got to piss.
By the way, happy birthday, Monica. 22. I'm going to get a cord so we can just hear the piss. I'm going to get a long enough cord so you can just take it in there. I wished a happy birthday to Monica. I don't know how old she is.
I don't know.
Early 20s, I'm sure.
What?
No, I don't know. I don't know how old she is. I just saw all our Twitter fans wishing her.
Dude, don't fucking get in the Roger Ailes trouble here. I'm fucking sitting on the shitter to piss because, of course, I sit down to piss. Like you don't, Olympic athletes. Yeah, I think Dan's not going to say anything. And I'm mad because every time he says something, it's funny. And then, out of the blue, I hear, by the way. And then I heard happy birthday. And I know, it was Monica?
Yeah.
I thought you said mom.
Oh, no. No.
And then I thought you said 22. You said 22.
Yeah, I was kidding.
You were?
Yes.
What are you kidding about? Not knowing her age?
Yeah.
So you don't know if it's 22?
Right.
Let me tell you this. I've never seen Monica, really. She is probably the best fan you could imagine having.
Absolutely.
I love her, and you know what? Happy birthday. But I don't think she's 22. No one is that much of a fan of mine in 22. From every account, she's very pretty, though. And what creepy to hell is this. I think she's been in the same room as me.
She has. She
yeah,
was somewhere.
I never really said anything.
Yeah.
She's local, I think, and she might have been at the fucking beer. at the Dirty Work. By the way, my old movie's getting a lot of love. The Dirty Work screening, very successful. A lot of people liked it. And this magazine, the next thing they're doing as a cult screening and cult hit is Beer League. I got invited to that. Something's going on. Who's the dickhead now, guys? Who's the asshole who said, no, $3 million for a softball movie? That'll work. I guess I'm like the Jim Cameron now. I'm king of the fucking world, dicklicks. The bottom line is this. This is Roger Ailes. And all I said was, get that Puerto Rican over here. I want my Puerto Rican. Look at the cans on that Madame Bouzelle. Look at little Maria Serena Sanchez. Look at Celerino Sanchez and titties. Get that Celerino Sanchez and titties over here. Bring her over to my enclosure. Tell her Gretchen Carlson is nibbling away at my skin on the left side of my enclosure. And she's developed a food source. She's developed a nipple. And every time, depending on what I eat, she gets protein. If I have a bunch of egg whites and a sausage, she gets protein. If I have my normal dinner of Twix bars, mayonnaise, and Pepsi, she gets a lot of meat and protein from the source of my enclosure, which looks like a very small breast nipple. She carved away with her teeth at the skin, at the dead skin, which I can't feel at this point. So I feel no pain. She developed a nipple, and now she has meat in my enclosure. And she saw the young, may I say, spicy Puerto Ricano. I put her in my enclosure. May I say, the young, spicy Puerto Ricano. I call her my Louis T. aunt because of the way she twists on a rubber and throws a change up. I love applying the enormous black eyeliner to her eyes and the fake eyelashes, which is a Roger Ailes especial. We listen to Jose Feliciano. And she says she has a lot she has a lot in common, and feels she's related in a lot of ways emotionally to Jose Feliciano. And I said, why? She goes, because she feels like she wants to be blind. At this moment in time, she wants to be blind, like Jose Feliciano. And I say, is that because I'm disgusting and enormous? And she says, yes. And I say, sí, meaning yes in Spanish. I've learned some Spanish for her. I've learned some Spanglish from my little Puerto Ricano, Kim Costa Ricano. What's her name? Kim Guachalupio? The Puerto Rican on the 5. What's her name?
Oh, I don't.
He called her Puerto Rican. You handed me the story. Where's the story? Kim Cachiwano. I told you to put it in front of me. Where is it?
Did.
Where is it? Roger Ailes. He says right here. Kimberly Guilfoyle.
She's the one with dark hair, really
she's
nice.
She's the Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
But I guess she's married to an Irish guy. What's Guilfoyle?
I don't know. I'll find out.
This would be the perfect time to find out. Half hour into the program. Kimberly Guilfoyle, host of The Five, was allegedly called a Puerto Rican whore. I think.
Well, actually, she's single. She's been married twice.
Well, so what's she bitching about? She's single. I'm single. Let's get together and make a double. Kimberly Guilfoyle, host of The Five. Well, it says Puerto Rican H and then, enough letters for whore. But would you... he also called her. I also called her a Puerto Rican street fighter. What the fuck is that? A Puerto Rican street fighter? That could be misconstrued a couple of ways.
Puerto Rican mother, Irish father. She grew up in the Mission District of San Francisco.
Yes, Puerto Rican mother. And in the Mission District of San Francisco, that's where I think we found Greg Gutfeldt. Which brings me to my next thing. Greg Gutfeldt. Is he a fruit? I'm accused of asking if Greg Gutfeldt is a homosexual, which I believe anyone can honestly say they've asked themselves in their own head. You know who falls in that group? Everyone who's ever met Greg Gutfeldt. Is Greg Gutfeldt a homosexual? Okay, Greg Gutfeldt, let's get to this. We talked about annoying people on the air, and the liberals took a hit yesterday. Greg Gutfeldt might be the most annoying human being. There's no one, like, in other words, if there was that old hacky cliche question of an apocalypse, like, and there's only one other person in the world, and there's one gun with one bullet, you shoot yourself because you want him to stay there and suffer, and you want immediate death. He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's glib. He is so disgusting. He looks like a little midget. He looks like a guy on the Oompa Loompa said, we don't want to work with him. He looks like a guy that, on the Wizard of Oz, like all the extras go, we don't want to work with him. He's an asshole. And he might be gay. Are you a good fag or a bed faggot? Are you a good fag or a bed fag? Wow! He's like with the V-neck sweater. Wow, Goodwitch Barrett. Hey, Goodwitch Barrett, you got a sandwich? That's the kind of joke he makes. He would say, are you a Goodwitch Barrett or a sandwich? Either way, I'm hungry. Oh, my God. That's why. Does he have pictures of Roger Ailes blowing Saddam Hussein? Does he have a picture of Rupert Murdoch, Roger Ailes in a threesome with Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden raping a 4-year-old while Hussein's sons torture an Olympic athlete in the back? Is that what they have? Because there's no other way. He's unbelievably terrible. You feel like the Pacino list. You're not a comedian. You're not a broadcaster. You're not a friend. What does he do? What are his qualifications? And who puts him on television? If Roger Ailes is so uptight where he's making fun of the appearance of people, like he's making fun of the Puerto Rican, clearly he thinks about appearances, and he puts that guy on TV, he's a disturbing elf. He's like one of those elves. If Santa really had elves and he was one of them, you'd go, something creepy about that elf. The Gutfeldt elf is creepy. Hey, Santa, I'm an elf. You want to make some toys or you want to make some noise? Hey, I got Blitzen High with some weed I was smoking. And then right after doing a joke like that, he'll make some serious point about Black Lives Matter. Okay, look, I'm being funny. That's the funny portion. Now I'm getting serious. Okay. Black Lives Matter. How about all lives matter? And then he waits for applause. Sometimes him and Geraldo Rivera get into a fight. I got to admit, I cannot stop watching it. I can't stop watching. I've abandoned all of their television except everything. That's all I watch. CNN and Fox. I go back and forth like a meth addict. I can't believe it. Every once in a while, I'll stop to watch those three guys on Charlie Rose. Because that's my amazing quiver and my arrow. I can't believe it. Really is unreal that these people got on TV. And then Geraldo Rivera, people forget, he looks kind of cool now because he's the older statesman. He's hung around a long time. These younger idiots, he looks respectful. He stayed in shape. I mean, there's no bigger egomaniac on the planet. Yeah. Geraldo Rivera, I've met him a couple times at Stern. The egomania that just comes off of him. You know, Howard, I sail to Puerto Rico myself a couple of times a year. Then he smiles with that big mustache. Like, what do you mean? And then he baits you. He wants you to ask the question by yourself. Oh yes, Artie. Is it Artie? I'm sorry. Yeah, by myself. Sure, you can do that. Oh, of course. Is that a trick question? Is that a trick question, Howard, from this ne'er-do-well you employ back here? That mustache, super Geraldo, brother. And then him and Gutfeldt. Yeah, where were you? Were you on a date at the Playboy Mansion with a hooker in 1978? I don't think so. I was there. It was the 70s. We were having fun. Is that fun or And then Dana Perino goes, I have my husband on the phone with the dog. That Gurofoil just yells out she's Puerto Rican, and then she's upset Roger Ailes points it out. I dated a Puerto Rican chick. I've said this before. Green contact lenses. And I think the green was actually, when she saw me, she saw money. I think that's what happened. I'm wearing no green contact lenses. I had a Mercedes. She lived in Red Hook, Brooklyn. That's all she cared about. It was clear she was fucking me because I had more money than her. Clear. She didn't make it fucking a secret. Like, I had a 500 SL Mercedes convertible. It's a car. If you're an obnoxious prick from Jersey who comes from no money and you get money, it's a car you have for a little while. And that, again, when I had it in L.A., right out every night at dusk on the Pacific Coast Highway, throw the heat on, put the hood down, and drive right up the coast with some hooker. That's right. Some Puerto Ricano. I'd pick her up in Red Hook. You go pick me up in your car? She would call the neighborhood out like I was the ice cream man. I pull up, hey, I told you 500. I told you, tell my cousin. Anton, tell him. I told you to 5. Can you have a picture with it, Artie? Anton, get out here. We ain't got no time. Bring your camera. Pre-cell phone. Bring your motherfucking camera. And you cannot have my sandwich. She had a big ass. She had the very pretty 6 foot tall, this Puerto Rican. I met her through my friend. at the bar at the Four Seasons Hotel in New York, which if you frequent in those circles, when you hear bar at Four Seasons, a few red flags go up. In other words, I don't think she had a room there. Dan, I don't know if you've been to the bar at the Four Seasons in New York, or especially L.A., the bar at the Four Seasons in L.A. There's a lot of girls there who, let's just say their night might not end there. Yes. She didn't charge me. You gonna pick me up in your car? Chris Rock told us a great story on Stern once about that, about meeting a girl at the Four Seasons who was married, not to him. I guess he told the story in public. I guess I could tell it. It's an amazing story. The fact that Rock was this honest. I mean, he might be the best talk show guest ever. But the honesty on this was amazing. And you found out it was when, after he was married, this happened. But still a tough story to tell. And he told us it didn't seem like he discussed it with Howard first. Sometimes you could realize that. And but he told it, man. Who did he tell it? Yes. So yeah. I would like to. People say, would you like to be the sports announcer for like a Cubs, like a Jack Buck, like a local guy? Like, for one season, that would be fun. I'm Jack fucking Buck. Who's this asshole with the hair? Listen, Jack, this is Roger Ailes. I'd like to replace you with a Puerto Rican woman. Before you get mad, she's got a couple of torpedoes on her. She's got a couple of Puerto Rican torpedoes. She's our new PR woman, if you know what I mean. That's a Gutfeldt joke. Is she our new PR woman? Ha 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 ha! You're public relations in Puerto Rican. Ha 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 ha! That's our homosexual, Greg Gutfeldt. Is Greg Gutfeldt gay? I mean, okay. Here's nowadays the political correctness. This is why Roger Ailes got the boot. The genius behind Fox News, he got the boot because of this. Roger Ailes allegedly made less than flattering comments about a number of his Fox News employees, according to a new lawsuit. Wow, biggity whoop. Kimberly Goldfoyle, host of The Five, was allegedly called a Puerto Rican whore, easy, and a Puerto Rican, maybe not even whore. I'm not sure if it says whore. Puerto Rican W, it could likely be whore. And a Puerto Rican street fighter. Okay, that's fine. The lawsuit was filed by Andrea Tentoros, who claims Ailes asked if the Five host Greg Gutfeldt was gay, and if pundit Dana Perino was a lesbian. Well, she's married to a woman. Ailes also allegedly referred to Stacey Dash. Okay, the stuff I'm thinking about Stacey Dash right now is way worse than anything else I'd say. Stacey Dash as the black girl. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? She, guess what she is? She's the black girl. And said Harris Faulkner, another black chick, has the tendency to look like the Angry black woman. She does. She fucking does. When they put together the Mary Tyler Moore show, it was way more racist, I guarantee. If they had a mic and the fucking thing, you're okay. She's that, she's this, you're that. Lawsuit. Harris Faulkner, as far as her appearance is concerned, I put it on the head. It looks like Carl Weathers had the Caitlyn Jenner thing. Carl Weathers, of course, the black guy who Rocky fights. Apollo Creed. She looks like Apollo Creed had the sex change. Harris Faulkner. That's a lawsuit. Gretchen Carlson was allegedly called nuts by Ailes. Okay! Are you fucking kidding me? Is that the problem? I thought he put her underneath his belly and made her find a food source. He called her nuts. Am I reading this fucking right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Maria Bartimario, fat. Okay. Right. Opinion,
she
right.
She has gained weight.
No kidding. And Carlson does seem nuts. House of Faulkner can get mad. Dana Perino could be a dyke. Greg Gutfeldt. What? Greg Gutfeldt. Greg, my gut is filled with Gutfeldt.
Allegedly.
Okay, Ailes, Puerto Rican. He did nothing here. This is why, these comments came up, and this is why you give the boot to the genius behind your network. Assholes. Another awful story in the news. Awful. I'm sickened. We'll take a quick break before I end with. I want to end the last segment of the show is going to be dedicated to a new book about Mick Jagger. Again, I hope I don't tire people. As anyone knows, I am a absolute fanatic about the Rolling Stones and stories about the Rolling Stones. And one of the most fascinating eras is the time they played Altamont Speedway in December of '69. A few months after Woodstock, they weren't at Woodstock. This was their answer to Woodstock, and it turned into absolute mayhem. Outside of San Francisco, at a speedway, 300,000 people showed up, double what they thought would. Free concert by the Stones. Opening for the Stones were the Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane, and the Flying Burrito Brothers, who were an amazing band at the time. It was a concert of the ages for back then. It's almost as good as Woodstock without being Woodstock. And then you got the fucking Stones. It sounds like it should be nuts already with just that. I'm going to give you the kicker. For some of you youngsters, I'm going to give you the little spice into the recipe that might have put it over the top. Doing security at the gig. Trying to police the Rolling Stones, the Flying Burrito Brothers, the Grateful Dead, and Jefferson Airplane, and 350,000 acid-taking, beer-swilling, whiskey-drinking, pot-smoking, pork-chop chewing slobs. Trying to police them and the Stones were the Hells Angels. Yes! With pool cues and absolute authority to do what they needed to be. What needed to be done? Wow. Yes. I believe 5 people were killed, more than in the first Gulf War. And the kicker was 4 feet from Mick Jagger, about a quarter way through the concert. The concert wasn't near being over yet. While Jagger was singing a very funky live version of Under My Thumb in an outfit that can only be described as a third-grade Halloween outfit if you're going as the court jester in a medieval time sketch. 4 feet from Jagger, singing Under My Thumb, while he's grooving out and tripping to a very soulful Mick Taylor, Keith Richards guitar solo, the beat being kept by Charlie Watts. 4 feet from them. A black man, I believe an 18-year-old black man, named Meredith Hunter, correct?
Right. In a lime green suit.
In a bright lime green suit that looks like something Huggy Bear would wear on Starsky and Hutch. If Huggy Bear wore this on Starsky and Hutch, you'd go, no, it's too loud, buddy. But wait a minute, motherfucker, I'm Fargos, what's his name? Fargos, man, Rodriguez, man. I'm gonna be a bitch, I'm Huggy Bear, bitch. No, it's too loud, take it off. a jet black man with an unbelievably white girlfriend and in a lime green suit that was the color of the green contact lenses my Puerto Rican girlfriend wore. Unbelievably lime green with some black lining. Okay. 4 feet from Jagger, that guy, the black man, pulls out a gun, a big gun, like the kind Dirty Harry was swilling in the streets of San Francisco around that time. Of course, the whole thing put together by Melvin Belli. This is Melvin Belli, Terrible Stairs. He pulls out a gun right before he picks up the gun far enough to shoot Mick Jagger in the face. A Hell's Angel, doing his job, runs in, tackles him, and you see a knife and stabs him in the neck and in the back about 100 times, and he dies. Word is from the cops and the paramedics that were there, he would have lived if he was allowed to take the helicopter to the hospital that the Rolling Stones were going to take. That was a big no from Jagger's crew. No. He's going to have to find another way. So they let him stay there until they found another means of transportation, which never came, and he bled out. Died. That's the part you never hear of. The Hell's Angel was tried. He was. I don't know. Charges might have been dropped. He might have been tried and found not guilty in a court of law. I got to tell you what. I agree with that decision. He did nothing wrong. If you look at the tape, and there's an amazing documentary called "Give Me Shelter," and maybe the best documentary about rock ever. Dan, your thoughts on that? Right? I mean, that's up there.
Yes. I'm such a big Stones fan, but
it's a documentary,
right.
It's a rock documentary.
Right.
Give Me Shelter. And Give Me Shelter, the first part of it, a lot of it mostly is the setup. You see Melvin Belli negotiating the gig.
When he's negotiating on the phone, that is so cool to me.
Yeah.
This is Melvin Belli.
Yeah. Melvin Belli with the Rolling Stone. Now, I have a couple people here. Now, you are the owner of the Speedway, is that correct? Now, I have not met Mr. Jagger. I have not met Mr. Jagger. Mr. Jagger's coming when? He's coming today. Today he's coming. He's coming tomorrow. He's coming tomorrow. Now, the Stones, I don't know. Can we call this off? No, Melvin, right now you got 150,000 people in the airport in St. Louis on a layover. Really? Why are they coming now? It's well, that's what they are. They're fans. Really? They're that fanatic about it. So do you think they'll be kind of unruly? That's followed by 10 minutes of laughter. I have all the players here. Okay. Should I get Matt Drudge on the phone? This is Roger Ailes. I'm 12 years old. I'm an enormous 12-year-old. And I'd like to say I have a Puerto Rican teacher. Her tits are huge. So that part is the beginning of the amazing documentary. And at the end of the documentary, the last hour of it, I call it like when they all get on the boat in Jaws, that part of the thing, when it gets good, is the concert. And they show clips of Jefferson Airplane. Briefly, you see Jerry Garcia arriving, and he's such a hippie, Jerry Garcia. You rarely hear Jerry Garcia talk, but he's such a hippie, no matter how big and fat and, beard swilling he is. He looks big and tough, he looks like he's gonna have a voice like gruff, But they go, well, somebody got hit by a Hell's Angel. One of the concert goers, one of the musicians, and he went, "Bummer, man." Wait, the Caps hit musicians? Yeah, hit a musician, knocked him out. That's a bummer, man. That's a bummer, man. And then you go into the Stones. It gets dark, and the acid kicks in. There's naked women who are enormous and fat. There's a woman whose ass is hanging out, very pale, a big pale ass, and she's got hay on her ass from sitting down on hay. She looks like a horse, a white horse. She looks like White Beauty. She looks like a horse, and I don't know.
It might have been Roger Ailes' mom.
Yeah, well, listen. I was just eating like a turtle. Disgusting. And you do see some stuff that looks like it could blow up. And but you get to the great part where you see Jagger looking at the guy with the gun. He stops talking and stops playing, and a couple other people on the stage are right in the eyesight. But you see, at one point, Jagger's seen everything. That's what he's the most. He's supposed to be the most cosmopolitan guy in the world, even at 27, whatever he's 29 years old at this point. It's 1969. They've been famous in 62. In those 7 years, he sees everything. every chick, every situation, but he's scared as fuck. And then you get Keith Richards, who comes to the mic sometimes and goes, hey, if those cats don't stop hitting people, we're leaving, man. We're not playing. Which, by the way, not an option. If they left, the cops in San Francisco said, full-blown riot. You'll have murder on your hands, and you will be tried for it. So after Under My Thumb, after a death occurred, after a guy gets stabbed in front of him 9 times by a biker, Jagger continues to play. They finish Under My Thumb. In the film, they cut to Street Fight Man, which is the song they usually close with. They finish Street Fight Man, talk about mailing it in. And then, bye, say goodnight. And they're out of there. They get on a helicopter that flies right over the dead black man. And here's where it gets good, this article. Here's where it gets good. You think Jagger, like the film kind of lets you believe at the end he's watching the film and you can see he's upset about it. The film makes you believe he was very, very uptight and upset and compassionate about what happened. You know, Jagger, like, oh, wow, it's crazy. And, you know, it'll be a while before we get back on top here, you know. And it was a little bit. But, you know, after everybody settles down, Jagger somehow talks Michelle Phillips. You heard me right. Michelle Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. China Phillips' mother. Smoking hot blonde. Smoking hot blonde. She's in the Mamas and the Papas. She's one of the mamas. And the other mama is an enormous woman named Mama Cass. Yeah. Mama Cass and Michelle Phillips. There's a threesome. But Michelle Phillips was young and smoking, little blonde. So Jagger, very distraught over the death of the African-American gentleman, goes to a Stones groupie known as Miss Pamela and says, hey, look, I got Michelle up in my room. He talked Michelle Phillips, who was married to Papa John Phillips, who I don't think was upset because he was cheating on Michelle Phillips with his daughter, Mackenzie. Boy, those were rock and roll times, man. I don't think you see this backstage at a Nickelback concert. This was rock and this was roll. Jagger, there's a death. They're just responsible for 5 deaths and the worst tragedy in the history of music. A young black gentleman, the civil rights movement is dead by a white Hell's Angel. They might be responsible for it. Jagger's like, hey, you want to fuck me and Michelle? He's rock and roll, baby. Jagger, you know, Danny and I were talking about this. Jagger is one of those calculated fucks. Everybody hates him because there was no emotion. He seems like a guy who fucked your wife because he was a rock star. I'm Mick Jagger. I'm supposed to fuck your wife. There's no emotion in it. A lot of people dislike him. So instead of being upset, yeah, he's got Michelle Phillips in his bed naked, and he's trying to get a threesome going. And this is the kicker of the story. This is the most unbelievable part. Miss Pamela, the Stones groupie, says no. According to the story, she says no. He can't get the Stones groupie in bed with the married chick. So I guess the end is he just fucked her one-on-one, which, I mean, I think that's what happened, and that's better anyway. What do you think Miss Pamela looked like? She wasn't on Michelle Phillips. Which also ties together another part of the story I heard years ago. Michelle Phillips is an answer to a trivia question. Who was the last person allowed on the last seat in the last helicopter that left Altamont with the Stones the night of it? Like the last person to get one of those coveted spots to get out of there. Didn't have to deal with the traffic of the crowd and that living hell. And the answer is Michelle Phillips. Now we know why. Yes! The next morning, after whatever happened there, Jagger gets up early, or maybe he never slept at all, and while the rest of the band is completing the night on what's described as a breakfast of bourbon and cocaine, makes total sense, Jagger sneaks out, says bye to the band. They'll see you in L.A. or New York, wherever they're going to meet to do some editing or something, and he's got a duffel bag on him. They don't think twice about it. In the duffel bag is all the money from the tour that I believe they were supposed to split up. Now, here's another great point of the story that makes it so amazing. It's all the money they grossed, not from that night, from the tour across America. Their net, which he flew to a bank in Switzerland. Jagger was a business guy, too. Think about it. He's singing Under My Thumb. He's negotiating a threesome, and then he's bringing the money to a Swiss bank. I told you the number, Dan. Do you remember the number of the money?
No.
Okay, try to take a guess of what the Stones take net. I don't think it was gross net of what their cut, the whole band that they got to split up. He takes in a duffel bag. I don't know who knew about it or who knew what number was what number, who got ripped off, but I know he leaves alone with it after trying to get his threesome going the next morning. Leaves San Francisco, and 5 people dead, including one on film. How much money do they make for the tour? What does he take to Switzerland and deposit in a bag?
$4 million?
$1.8 million.
Okay, $2 million.
How low is that? I guess that's true. I'm sure it is. Reliable sources. Under $2 million. $1.8 million. Look, a chunk of change in '69. A chunk of change.
Wait, was that Miss Pamela the Bear?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's the one that that's the one that hung out with the Stones.
Well, clearly
Pamela at the bar, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know what her last name is, but Miss Pamela. Yeah, that was. I've heard that name before.
Yeah,
I've heard Miss Pamela. I never heard Pamela at the bar, but Miss Pamela I've heard before as a groupie. So, first of all, some groupie. She says no to a threesome with Michelle Phillips. What a fucking terrible groupie that is.
No shit.
You can't even call that a groupie. Your job is to fuck Mick Jagger. It wasn't even. I mean, listen, she's supposed to fuck key grips. Stage hands. She says no to the guy. She says no to the Rolling Stone and the hot chick from the Mamas of What? That makes no fucking sense. You're fired, Miss Pamela. You are fired. She should be letting Bill Wyman shit in her mouth.
Oh, God.
She's saying no to a threesome with Michelle Phillips and Mick Jagger. So that's not a groupie. A groupie lets Bill Wyman. If Bill Wyman says, "Can I shit in your mouth?" Yes. He shouldn't even have to ask. As soon as Bill Wyman sees her mouth kind of open to yawn, he should be allowed to shit in it. If she opens her mouth for anything, shit, bye, because she's a groupie. Because that's what groupies do. They act like fat chicks. That's what a groupie does. They act like Richard Simmons. Hello, my mouth's open. There's a hunk of shit, Richard. Put that on. Is that under your meal cards? Move that to the side. She says no to a threesome. She's a groupie. How dare they call her a groupie? That's a lawsuit. She's not a groupie. She's just some uptight bitch who hangs out with him. Thank you for pointing that out. Miss Pamela. Miss Pamela. Miss Scamela. Thank you. How about that? I came up with that pretty quick. I just nailed you there, honey. Miss Scamela. Terrible groupie.
She should fuck Cameron Crowe
if Charlie Watts was HIV positive and had a cut on his dick, he should be allowed to get it hard and fuck her unprotected in her asshole. Oh, God. Here's the HIV, mate. Here's the HIV, my love. I'm Charlie Watts. Here's the HIV. You're Miss Pamela, you're a groupie, right? Here's some AIDS. I'm injecting you with some AIDS. My bloody scraped up dick is gonna inject you with AIDS, Miss Pamela. And after that, you know what a groupie does? Oh, thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie, for the, we have the cocaine. Can I get some AZT? What do you And then after that, if she complains, kick her off the bus. I don't care if the bus is moving. And Miss Pamela complained, Mick. Oh, really? Kick her off the bus. She says, can we stop first? No. She'll be kicked off the bus while it's moving. Let Roger Ailes do it. Groupie. Groupie schmoopie. What a band. Dan pulled this on. I got a new book, right? Dan found something. Yeah. We got to get the book and talk about it. I've read every Stones book. Every Stones book.
It's coming out in England in like 2 weeks, and then they're going to send it over here.
Yeah, you had the title. The movie's hilarious. The Hell's Angels come off cool as hell. I think they're so funny. They're in like these heads that they made. It looks like they tackled a water buffalo with their teeth and made it decapitated and made it into a headdress. Walking around with beers. They're just driving their motorcycles with their dogs on the stage. He's singing Tumbling Dice, and a dog just runs by him. Just a random dog that's been released from their enclosure. Just runs by them. And then you see, for no reason, Jerry Garcia. At some point, you see the lead singer, the white guy, Melvin something. The lead singer of the not Gray Slick, the lead singer, the male lead singer from Jefferson Airplane. You see him get
Balin.
Yeah, right. Mel Balin. Or something.
Yeah.
He gets punched in the face.
Michael Balin.
Michael Balin. He gets knocked out. They knock him out. They punch him in the face and they knock him out. Hey, one of you guys just punched my lead singer in the face. I don't give a shit. We were promised beer. Where's Mick Jagger, that fag? He's having a threesome with Miss Pamela. Miss Pamela said no to Jagger. Dan, that's ridiculous, right?
Yes.
Ugh. You're a groupie. You say
Marty
yes.
Balin.
Marty Balin. I blocked that out because that sounds like a Catskills comic. Hey, I'm Marty Balin. One pill makes you happy, one makes you small. And the one mama gives you doesn't do nothing at all. Two Jews walk into a bar. Marty Balin. All right. Lot going on here. We've covered a lot. Dan, that's an order.
Yeah. He's talking about the election coming up after this, which I think which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Who knows, within the next 4 years...
Miss Pamela was Pamela DeBar.
Nice.
I looked it up.
I mean, who cares, really? Are we on?
Yes.
Oh. Dad confirming that, again, this means nothing to anybody, but this is in your head. The Miss Pamela in my story about the Rolling Stones. Why were you so excited about that? I mean, I guess why wouldn't it be true?
I just, just came to me.
Okay. Miss Pamela Navarre is a chick who was in Miss Pamela in that story. And it makes sense. How many groupies could they have had named Pamela?
All right.
Yes. Okay.
That would be looking at the glass half empty.
Okay. I don't. How is that? I don't even know what you're talking about. All right. I sometimes, Joe Matarese, my friend, is on this show called Ribeye. I'm kidding, Red Eye. It's a show I watch sometimes on Fox News. It's on like 3 o'clock in the morning. This kid, Tom Shalhoub, hosts. Shit. I mean, that show's an old time. I guess he's my age. Tom Shalhoub, who I think's a funny guy. I don't think I've ever met him, but I know he's buddies with Jim Gaffigan. And I think back in the day I might have met him with Jim Gaffigan somewhere in New York City. Dare I say, catch a rising star, when it was on 28th Street for about half a second in the mid-'90s. But, he's a guy, again, a guy with some balls who comes out with right-wing attitudes and views and jokes in this day and age. The day and age has always been with show business where it could cost you work, I think, if you have that kind of political view, especially in Hollywood, at least, especially now with the Trump thing. I mean, some of these videos, and again, I am not a political guy. My wind blows wherever the joke is. I'm a comic. I goof on Eric Trump very hard. And when people hear that, they think, oh, what are you, some left wing? I'm like, no, you should really watch some of the other stuff. It's whatever I think's funny. Because being funny's so hard anyway. So then if you pigeonhole yourself, well, I'm only going to be funny about left wing stuff or right wing stuff, then I'm like, well, now when am I going to be funny? It's so hard to be funny if you just take on everything. So I have no political view or any horse in the race. I just point out Eric Trump says amazing a lot. And when the Trump kids talk about hard work, oh my God.
I know.
You know what I mean? Oh my God. Now they can't go back at this point with at least with the until the election's up, because they have said, look, I'm for this. I'm very much for something that is very black and white, and I can't go back on it. And again, it's hard when you're political. It's very hard, and again, I don't know why you put yourself in that position. The Trumps don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about anything. There's a guy who hosts Ribeye with Shalhoub. Red Eye. I'm going to do that every time. I do love ribeye steaks. Red Eye.
Those are the best steaks.
They are good. Why don't you like them at Legs and Eggs? What's the matter with a ribeye at Legs and Eggs?
What?
What's the matter with a ribeye at Legs and Eggs? You said you only get the New York steak. What do you get?
I thought I said I got a ribeye.
You got a steak when you go to strip clubs. You said
Just at this one in Windsor,
Right.
had a really good steak.
Windsor, Canada.
Canada.
And you said it was a New York strip.
No, I thought it was a ribeye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm watching Red Eye, and the other guy who hosts with him he calls himself TV's Andy Levy, which is I don't know. He's being funny. Again, though, I've seen this before. And again, what I'm saying is I like Tom Shalhoub, and the show has funny moments on it. He hosts, they try to reconstrue these different talk show formats. There's like 3 or 4 talk show formats that are the standard. Johnny Carson figured out on The Tonight Show, Steve Allen, I don't know who did it in the beginning, that a lot of the standard late-night comedy talk shows are going to be a guy walks out, stands on a star they have for him, while a band plays him on, and he delivers a monologue, then he walks over to a desk that's either to his left or to his right. Banters with the band, has a couple of guests on. And there's a sidekick who announces them, who he brings over to the couch, and they banter, there's bits between them. There you go. The Tonight Show type of setting. And that's a go-to thing. Just stick with it. People try to figure it out, Well, no, we're going to have balloons up your ass. No, just, whatever. The other daytime thing is what Donahue kind of figured out, where it's going to be more daytime issues, more women issues, like, should a blender be more environmentally correct? Is the cover for the toaster gay? The term gay, is that should you vote for someone who says gay? Did Bill Clinton smoke weed? Did he smoke a cigar, then put it in that chick's twat? Those type of light subjects. And, that format is the host comes out, he's Phil Donahue, he's like, I call my penis the kidney disturber, we're coming back. I got to remind you, some of you very, very close fans of the podcast, that Dan Filato, very hooked up in Chicago years ago, was at a Chicago pool party that went into the AM, and all of them had their girls with them. And they were playing sort of dirty little whatever. Dirty Scrabble. And
Dirty Scrabble.
That's what we'll call it.
Dirty Scrabble.
We'll call it Dirty Scrabble. They were probably hoping I would be asleep a little longer. Dirty Scrabble. And, okay, so they're all hanging out later, and there is, like, Marlo Thomas. Was Marlo Thomas there?
Yes.
Yeah. And the guy she's with the one of the gangsters. Who's she fucking?
Phil Donahue. She's married to Phil Donahue.
I know, but didn't she before? I'm saying this before Phil Donahue. They were at some party, weren't they? No. Okay, but anyway, the couples who were Phil Donahue and Marlo Thomas, Dan and his gal,
right? Sharon,
Bill Curtis and his guy or gal.
His gal,
right,
that he will not marry because he had a wife and she passed away, and that's going to be his only wife.
All right.
Donna LaPietro was her.
Donna LaPietro. And Bill Curtis. I'm Bill Curtis. Welcome to American Justice. This is my wife, Donna LaPietro. Could there be a better name for Bill Curtis's wife to have? I mean, that's the perfect amount of syllables. I'm Bill Curtis. And this is my wife, Donna LaPietro. That's too perfect. That's the because he could roll right into it. Here on American Justice, I talk about Donna LaPietro. Could she have been the 11th victim of Richard Pence? Richard Pence.
You've been watching too much political
I don't
stuff.
know why I thought of Pence and Speck.
Mike Pence.
I don't know why I confused our current nominee for vice president. Very, very conservative looking Indiana governor. I don't know why I confused him with the bigger killer of a bunch of nurses ever. I don't know why my mind went there. Why did your mind go there? One of the nurses might have been Donna LaPietro. Married to me at this point. My only wife. Unlike Mike Pence, who could have several wives, including a sex dungeon. Richard Speck, after killing the last nurse, left a couple of nurses under a bed, not knowing they were still alive. He hopped in a car, drove to downtown Chicago, started walking aimlessly.
That's exactly
in downtown Chicago. In downtown Chicago. Richard Speck killed the last nurse, then started working aimlessly in downtown Chicago. Richard Speck killed the last nurse. I would do it again. I'm going to do that in bed quite a bit, though. One more time. In downtown Chicago. He walked into the Hopkins Hotel, a local flop house. He walked into the Hopkins Hotel, a local flop house. Richard Speck was caught by the cops after slitting his wrists on a broken-down mattress. He was taken to justice. Ended up at Statesville Prison, where this last disturbing video shows him doing what appears to be cocaine with a young African-American, very effeminate prisoner, yelling at Speck as if he were his woman. Speck had clearly taken hormone pills and had very large breasts. Very large. You know what Richard Speck had? You know the video I'm talking about,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So disturbing. Statesville Prison is where they put John Wayne Gacy amongst other people. I mean, Chicago area gutter snipes. This is where they put them, right, Dan?
Yes.
Oh, my God, how terrible Statesville Prison looked. It looked like a living hell. So Speck, who was just a weirdo, started taking hormone pills. He wanted to be a woman. And it's clear that this black guy's fucking him. Like,
Right.
he's yelling at him, like, come on, bitch, get the fuck over. You want some cocaine, yeah? We got cocaine, yeah, man. We bringing it in, man, with the What are you looking up?
Huh?
What are you looking up? Try just watching me, listen to me, because it's disturbing. What are you looking up?
I couldn't remember if Stateville was where the Blues
Just
Brothers
don't worry
did.
about it. Just don't worry about it. No. You're such a millennial. And speaking of which, we'll cut to, I was going to say how Bill Curtis talking about his cock and everything, but now the audience doesn't get it. Dan was at a party where they were naming their penises, which is so disturbing. And Bill Curtis, the voice I was just doing before, when it came to him, he named his penis the kidney disturber.
Kidney disturber.
He named his penis the kidney disturber. So we talked about it before. Google it. I was going to talk about the fact that on this red eye thing. Also, by the way, I do like the show. I like Tom Shalhoub. I think he's funny. And the guy Andy Levy. Again, I've said this before. He seems like a smart, funny guy. I do appreciate that they're right wing in this dangerous climate of where you can't do anything right wing and get work. I admire that. But Andy Levy's look, he does look like, Jack Lemmon's son in Glengarry Glen Ross. Like his sort of, or his brother. He's not TV friendly. Actually, here's a kid I know. This kid's funny. He was on, what's this, the Skanks of the Universe podcast, the one that's in Anthony Cumia's studio.
Legion of Skanks?
Yeah. He was on, of course, Jay Okerson, people know I love Jay. I think Jay's hilarious. And the kid Louis Gomez, or Louis Sanchez. What's Louis' name? Louis, a very funny kid. They know, what I'm talking about. He's funny. This kid Dave something, who I can't find the remote. This kid Dave something was on that podcast when I was there, and he was very funny. And so now he's doing, I guess Shalhoub is on vacation. You're right, this is insanely boring. But I'm just saying, I don't know, I'm getting into a conversation. My point is I'm fans of these guys, so I'm watching this. But I was watching it originally for Joe Matarese was going to be on Tom Shalhoub. And he asked, I said, I've been getting into the politics a lot. I got to take a diabetic piss. Jesus. Dasani?
They sent the wrong case.
I don't have Dasani. I can live with it. We're judging water. That's our fucking generation. Look at my hair goes.
But if it tastes any better, it was free because they sent the wrong case.
Really? They do that?
Yeah.
Look at Fresh Direct. All right.
They're very good on the refunds.
Nice. But don't give them the coupon thing.
I don't.
Yeah, that's the coupon thing. Representing me.
But if they send the wrong cupcakes,
I know, but
I get
don't bitch about it.
refund.
I mean, could you think of something more feminine? These are the wrong cupcakes. Am I getting a refund? Anyway, so here's what I want you to
Now that was funny.
Here's what I want you Now I don't think you think anything else is funny. You see how I work? This is how I operate. This is how I operate. That's the only funny thing.
I love when you do Bill Curtis.
Now, let's stop. What I want you to admit to is they were talking on the show, Red Eye, about the song, This Is My being Hillary Clinton's song. And that's the song you loved. Like, oh God, that's one of the most sickening things you've ever done with Tim. You, Tim, my sister, and Adrian, I think, you were trying to tell me how great that song is.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember you going, no, I'm telling you, it's one of those songs that transcends. It's just so good.
The Vegas song?
It's called This Is My Fat Song, the one that Hillary Clinton plays. And then on this, they did a very funny thing on the show, and I have to echo it. They played the video of all these celebrities singing that song for her, like a public service announcement. They have all these people. This is my fat song. This is, and it's so sickening. It makes you want to vote for Trump, even though he could be a madman. These Hollywood retards, you know, they'll get someone else elected because people in this country are not all stupid. They're not all stupid hicks on a farm. They don't like to be pushed around. They don't like to be told by the cast of How I Met Your Mother who to vote for. They just don't. Shut the fuck up. I'll vote for who I want to vote for. You get it? I don't care what Ashton Kutcher said. My fat song, my ass. But Dan would be right there with his liberal views. And again, with the fight song, you were so sickening. The way, and Timmy was so sickening. My sister, Adrian, you were all sickening. I'm telling you right now, I know I don't like a lot of the music either, but I'm telling you this transcends. This is one of the songs you're going to
That was Timmy saying that, not me.
No, it was you.
No, it was not.
You could not have agreed with him
I
more.
do not.
You could not have agreed with him more.
And first of all, Adrian wasn't there. It was just Stacy, myself.
Okay, whatever. I don't know. Who cares?
And it was the Vegas song.
No, Adrian was there.
Katy Perry.
Yeah,
Not
right,
California. Right?
Katy Perry. Right, Katy Perry. This is my pop song. This is my right song. And they have like, I don't know, like Olivia Wilde going, this is my pop. Shut the fuck up.
Hillary's out there for 2 days.
Shut the fuck up. This is my right song. My California song. Oh, you fucking assholes. I hope you're happy, Dad. You created this world.
Oh, yeah.
You and my manager, Rick Dorfman.
Yeah.
And my other manager. You created this world. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to get the pancakes. You know what? I've been good all week. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to get the pancakes. What do I know? I'm a gay Jew from Scarsdale. It was not that song?
No.
What song was it?
Katy Perry.
What's the song?
Firework. And
Firework.
I said, I appreciate
Listen
a good pop.
how he
These
just
were
said
exactly my words.
Listen
I
to how he
appreciate
just-
a good pop song.
No, those weren't your words.
Yes.
Your
yes.
dick, her dick was in your mouth. And Katy Perry, by the way, very masculine. I met her. She did that song where she kissed a girl and she liked it. No kidding. No kidding. What's the song? How does it go?
Firework?
Yeah, how does it go? I don't even know what it is.
I have it on my computer.
Well, let's sing it.
Baby, you're a firework. It's, oh, dude.
Cock Robin.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Vinnie Monroy, get on it.
Yeah.
Get on it. Firework.
Yeah, okay.
You are my firework. You are my cock robin. Your dick is slobbin'.
You know, we share an iTunes account, and there are about 30 or 40 songs I could say are douchey, just as bad that you put on
All right,
there.
go ahead, say what they are. I don't give a shit. I'm 48, who cares? What? Like, there's a lot of douches. I got all Vidal. But Dan, there's a difference, okay? Everybody has, a weak moment with their girl. You put it on there, they see on your thing, oh, you're sensitive. That's very different, Dan, than screaming out how much you love this song.
I said I appreciate a good
you
pop
were
song.
so into it.
No.
Dan, you were so... Again, I hope this is defending your life. I hope Rip Torn's your lawyer. Well, my client likes firework. Don't you like a firework, Your Honor? Rip Torn defending you. Who doesn't like fireworks? Can I say, Your Honor, a man loves fireworks? And he, Katy Perry, quite a looker. Nobody can sit there as a virile man and say she doesn't have a couple of set of cans on her. What is the song? How does it go? Okay, play it. Yeah, play it on your computer.
Okay, give me a second.
Give me a second. Vinnie Monroy. By the way, I'd like to say this. This is true. I just figured this out. There's a guy that I used to work construction with, and his name was Tony Epstein. Tony Epstein. He was Italian and Jewish, and on his mother's side, he had an uncle who in Linden, New Jersey, Union County area. Linden is a place where a lot of, North Jersey stereotypical types might be, like when they call it the armpit of the world. That's where I grew up. It's very, very, very factory oriented. Very factory oriented. And, the blue collar guys do blue collar stuff. But this guy branched off and became an amazing plumber. He's a Holocaust survivor. Okay? His great uncle, Sidney Epstein, great man, and had an amazing plumbing business, and was the type of guy who was recommended on the internet and stuff. And I realized this: he survived a concentration camp. He just died. He was 102 years old. And he had one of the most recommended plumbing businesses. And I just realized this. I said, you should put this in his epitaph. He's the only guy, maybe in history, who was on both Schindler's and Angie's List. I think he was. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I think Sidney Epstein, he might be the only guy who was on Schindler's List and Angie's List. I mean, isn't that great? Could there be a greater thing to say about an American? That's an American. In other words, to me, that is the greatest thing you could say about an American. My uncle, guess what? What did your uncle do? Oh, really? Oh, climb Mount Everest. All right. My uncle was on Schindler's List, and he was on Angie's List. Think about the time span that covers. It represents a handwritten list. A list written with a quill, I believe, by an old Jew who was an accountant, who some German fuck pulled out of the line and said, I'm going to buy a bunch of Jewish people if they're on this list, and creates the biggest masterpiece Spielberg might have ever made. Spielberg said, are you interrupting this story with this?
Sorry, it did an accident.
This is what Dan... now, here's a representative of the worst American ever. Dan interrupts that story of a great American with firework. Like Katy Perry, who the only list she's on is my shit list. We'll get to it. I know you're excited. What did he do? Okay, yeah. He survived the Holocaust. He survived, Sri Lanka. In the trains, gets out, not only survives as a child, comes over here, opens up a plumbing business. That is, he's so good at plumbing, he gets recommended. And then this thing, the internet, gets invented. And on it is a list of people who are great plumbers. And he makes that list. Two lists that are very hard to get on. In two different eras, and they represent technology, invention. This is up there with the shit white story. And guess what? 102 years old, dies. I hope they didn't write his epitaph yet. I hope they didn't write his. If I was writing for the New York Times, and I was doing the New York Times, say what you want. I don't care what your political beliefs are. Danny and I mentioned this the other day. I still get the New York Times delivered every fucking day, and I proudly do it as a comic. It seems archaic. You know, my girlfriend hasn't been here in a few years. Even back then, 4 or 5 years ago, she pointed out, she was younger, that I look old reading a newspaper. And I pointed out that, you know, your news is interrupted by finding out your girlfriend's hair is getting colored. So we have a yin and a yang. You're the yin, I'm the yang. You're the Artie, I'm the Wang. I said that once to her and we got confused, both of us. So, you know, in that amazing, the reason to get the New York Times, if for nothing else, are the obituaries. They're written so well, and you really find out about a person, and you might casually go, here's a guy who was a tailor in Newark for 100 years. I'll read about that guy. I'm curious to know what happened. Mr. Bamberger. Did he invent the word the word bloomies instead of Bloomingdale? I think my old assistant Teddy did. So, who, by the way, somebody mentioned on Twitter a great idea, having Teddy on this show, and I am dying to. Hey, Teddy, if anyone knows how to get in touch with Teddy, I think he's got a weird Twitter name. Very, very witty. Very witty kid, Teddy. I miss Teddy. He was a good guy, and I was on heroin. But you know what? Someone mentioned have Teddy on the show, and Ted, if someone can get in touch with Ted, I'm sure I could do it. I mean, Dan's got in touch with Springsteen, I think. Mm-hmm. But you know, we got the 300th show coming up. That could be is that a gettable guest for us? Dan and I are realizing how unimportant we are. My 300th show. By the way, applause to ourselves. Great job, Danny. Danny Filato. Yeah, good job, buddy. Good job. That was very impressive. Smattering of applause.
Well, I was hoping Katy Perry for the 300th show.
Well, no, don't worry about it. Tell her how much you love her fucking fruity song. So, you know, again, we might have Teddy on for the 3. I miss Teddy. So anybody out there can help us facilitate that. If you can vacillate it. Because having Teddy would be an amazing arrow in our quiver. So, you know, for the obituaries alone. So I would crowbar in his obituary just to say that he might be the only American, the only human ever, Sidney Epstein of Linden, New Jersey, to ever be on both Angie's List and Schindler's List.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? And believe me, if I were him, I could add the New York Times bestsellers list. Or he could say, like, he's the only guy who was ever, you know what, on a list to see Joe List. Could you imagine if Joe List had an uncle who was on Schindler's List and on Angie's List, and he was on a list to see Joe List? There's a comedian, Joe List. Very funny guy. He's opened for me and Nick DiPaolo a couple times. Opened for Nick a lot. And they're funny together in the green room because one is Attila Hun and the other one is Hummer.
We had him on the DirecTV show.
Yeah, no, Joe List is very funny, smart kid. So I would want this. If we could just say Jeffrey Epstein's his uncle. I have an uncle who was on Schindler's List and Angie's List, and he's on the list to see me, Joe List. And maybe his last name is the same as Joe. Sidney List. We could go on and on. But no. I mean, how if he really was one of those guys, that's an amazing life. There's no better life. Can you think of a better life than if you were on both Schindler's List?
No.
How hard is it to get on Schindler's List? How hard is it? When he looks at Ben Kingsley and goes, the list is life. And then as a plumber, he looks up on Angie's List and goes, the list is life. The list is actually the reason we have life. We're making money with shit. The thing he probably didn't have at Auschwitz, plumbing. Think about that. He was probably at Auschwitz going, we need something. I swear to God, if I get out of here, my life is gonna be dedicated to getting shit out of a house. If we get out of Auschwitz, I swear to you people, as he's wading in shit, as he's in 3 feet of shit, I swear, guys, if we survive this and we get home, I don't want to be a doctor, a lawyer. I don't want to be in show business. I don't want to play for the Yankees. I'm going to dedicate my life to getting shit out of wherever we're living. I'm dedicating my life to get piss and shit out of the house. And then he goes home and he lives that dream. He lives that dream of getting the Tarantinos and the Testas and the Edelsteins and the McCarthys, all the ethnic people who live where I live. The roofer, the guy who hangs wallpaper, the weird guy who might be a molester got hit by lightning. Yeah, he gets shit out of their house. And he makes Angie's List. And then after he dies at 102 years old, 30 years after the movie comes out, his wonderful friends His wonderful nephew, wonderful friend, Artie, who went on to have a life of comedian, who went on to have a life as a humorist. You could call me a humorist. Figures out for this guy and wants to tell the world. I think he died 2 days ago. I'm sorry he's not alive. I'd like to believe an afterlife for just this. If there's an afterlife, if a psychic is hearing this, you have to get word to him that we figured out he was on both Schindler's List and Angie's List. Now, if he wasn't really on Schindler's List, let it go. Just pretend you are. For our purposes, Mr. Sidney, you are on Schindler. Just fucking say it. Just fucking say it. Nobody's going to fact check it. Ben Kingsley's character did not have a fucking calculator or a smartphone. You hear me? His generation was smarter than their phones. This generation's not as smart as their phones. If they have a hard question, they ask their phone. I don't know. Let me ask my phone. Who's senator from... I don't know. Hey, phone. What? The phone gets all testy. What? I'm inundated. I am inundated with calls. What do you want? I'm sorry. I'll ask you later. That's what people's phones are like. They're like, it's like as if we in the 70s and 80s, Dan, hung out with the smartest person we knew, and he's always was with us. And when a hard question came up, I don't know. Did stuff? Hey, we'll call him Tone instead of phone Tone. Hey, Tone, short for Tony. Hey, Tone, did Stuffy Sternweiss win the Triple Crown in 1958? Yes. Did he bat under 300? Yeah, only got to bat under 300. Wow. Thanks, Tone. And you just, for whatever reason, believe Tone. You believe him. You believe him. Scrabble games are won because of Tone. Right-hand turns, left-hand turns to different places are decided on because of Tone. And if Tone's ever wrong, but there you go, Dan. What a life! Would that be a great life? Would you want to lead that life where that's on your? That's all I'd want on my.
Absolutely.
That's all I want on my tombstone. Here lies Sidney Epstein. He was on Schindler's List and Angie's List. Case closed. All right. The point is, I'm watching this fucking show, and that song comes on, and Dan's not. Again, I'll get my sister. You were gushing. I'm telling you right now, this song is just. When I hear it, it just transcends all generations. You said this. It transcends all generations. It's like when. Look, I love Katy Perry. I'll admit it. That's what you said. Oh, I get douche chills. I'll admit I love Katy Perry. Oh, okay, fuck you, Artie. I admit it. I love Katy Perry. You can make fun of me all you want. You know what? I'll tell you why. Because she's a great pop singer, and then she has this amazing other hour in her quiver where she could write a song like that means something. Not only is it a great pop song, it means something. It's something about that.
And she's married to Russell Brand. Or
is she?
She was.
Oh, my God. So you know that. Why do you know that?
Because I just saw his...
Okay, I'm going to get it. I just saw it on SportsCenter.
His special.
And then the Cubs game, they yell it out. That's how Dan claims he knows all this gay shit. He claims it's on some heterosexual thing. How do you know that? Just during a Cub game, they yell it out. What? Yeah, Cub game. They always yell out who Katy Perry's dating. Oh, so it's not so you buy some fruity magazine like that? No, of course. No. During the Bears game at halftime, they yell it out. Dick Enberg says who Katy Perry. He says it's 3rd and 5 and Katy Perry's married to Russell Brand. Oh, that's how you know? Yeah. What are you? You're the fruit. You should know, but you're not watching football. So you're saying to me, Dan, what you're saying to me is during the Bears game, they yell out who Katy Perry's dating. Yeah, that's how I know. Then he gets belligerent. He expands on the lie. Yeah, they do it. Matter of fact, they call it the Katy Perry dating segment. It's called 1st and 10. Who's Perry dating? All right, then you get scared. Then you get scared of him because you realize he could be violent. You realize a psychiatrist is needed. And you could be, with the wrong medication, he could be violent. If he mixes mayonnaise with the medication, I've seen the side effects. Could be Depakote. Anyway, besides Dan's song, there's a smoking hot chick who I guess is right wing. And that's why she's on here all the time. Dan confirmed. She is very sexy.
Yes.
Okay. And she talks first of all, she's like this tiny little, she's on right now. It's some kid with a beard who's on all the time who's like, I guess one of those, he's a guy, it looks like every kid in Williamsburg and he's a comic. That's what he looks like. His name's Joe DeVito. Again, he seems like a smart, funny guy, probably smarter than me, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to admit that. He's got those glasses on. He looks like every kid in Williamsburg right now, and he's got the plaid shirt and a tweed jacket, and you know, he rolls his eyes a lot, which was Janine Garofalo's punchline. At some point in the late 80s, Janine Garofalo saw Kinnison and Dice do a set and said, I'm going to roll my eyes. I'm not going to make a homophobic punchline. Instead, I'm going to say the name Andrew Dice Clay, and instead of thinking of a punchline, I'm going to roll my eyes. Andrew Dice Clay. Wow, so smart. And a bunch of executives will go, wow, she's probably thinking something smart. Can we ask her if she's thinking? No, don't insult her. You see, that's why you're dumb. That's why you're dumb, because she's thinking something smart. She wants you to ask that. It's so bad. Don't say I asked you to ask it, because I don't want to look stupid. You know she's thinking something smarter than you. She's thinking something so smart that you can never think it, and neither can I. And if you ask her, we're going to look dumb. So don't ask her. And if you do ask her, don't tell her I had anything to do with this. She rolls her eyes again. There's the noise. There's the noise I got from Dan. Just don't do anything. Apparently you didn't like the Garofalo bit.
I
So
can't
just let it.
stand Janine Garofalo.
I know, but I'm saying you didn't like the bit I was doing either. So just let it lie. Let it lie. It's like dead silence, and then there you go.
I can't help
Just
it.
stop doing that. Because that's what when you're bombing, that's what an audience decides to do to make you feel better. You try to be compassionate. I don't need that. I need hearty laughs. Anyway, this chick is so hot, and she talks very like down to you, which I gotta say, I hate to say it, it makes me harder. It makes me want to fuck her more. She's being so, and she's not a stand-up. She's all these. You see her credits, like she's going for her master's in sarcasm at Harvard. And she edits the BreitbartJudge.com, whatever the fuck website. She's the editor of the Daily Beast. Whatever the fuck it is. Graduated 14th in her class in Princeton, but she would have been 10th if it were not for anti-women sentiments. If it were not for anti-women, she'd be first. And then you hear her talk, like, I think that the Republican Party should be... She's very snobby and very condescending. Hey, Dalton. That's what she sounds like the twins' answer. I think we should definitely wash our undercarriage. Before you do stand-up comedy, wash your undercarriage. Do not leave the apartment without washing your undercarriage. Please. And when you do your sarcasm, try to roll your eyes in the proper manner. I would like you to say, Artie Lang, there's a slob, and then roll your eyes. Mike Breinbot, roll your eyes. Donald Trump, roll your eyes. Roll them. Become sarcastic, because sarcasm equals funny. That's what I am, funny and sexy. The two, funny and sexy, is like Schindler's and Angie's List. Very, very rare. Do you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Breinbot? You're working for that gutter snipes. Let me know if he absolutely let me know if Roger Ailes hits on you. Because you're very beautiful. And she is beautiful. She's got her tits. Her tits! She's got this little fucking smoking hot compartmentalized body, and it's all like crushed down, and she talks like, wash your undercarriage. After you go to your economics class, wash your undercarriage. And do not give a blowjob to anyone with an IQ of under 130. If one of those ne'er-do-wells who hangs out at a common 3rd Avenue Irish bar wants you to suck his penis, make sure he's got an IQ of above 130. I do not want you with a lower than 130 IQ penis in your mouth. If you walk into one of those common 2nd Avenue bars in Manhattan, like, I don't know, McGill's or McMurphy's or McBilly McMurphy's or Lawler's or McCasotros and order yourself a Pabst Blue Ribbon, make sure, if the bartender's kind of cute, putting his way through Harvard or Columbia, where would he be going? Columbia. and he's got an apartment right on the FDR Drive, make sure if you give him oral sex, he first washes his undercarriage. Think about your undercarriage. Would you want to play with someone who had a bad undercarriage? No. So you make sure your undercarriage is good, and by the golden rule, his undercarriage will be good. And you give oral sex to each other. And then after marriage, you bring the oral sex up to the vagina, to the vaginal area, and you produce a child. A beautiful lily-white child with a clean undercarriage. And make sure for the doctor who delivers the baby, who you might leave your husband for, because he's a doctor, has a clean undercarriage. Make sure he sees you have a clean undercarriage. And eventually you marry him unless he's a filthy Jew. I do not want any filthy Jews. And as very progressive as we are, if you do date an African American, keep it low. Do not bring him to any gatherings at our house. I'll tell them you have a friend who's African American. They'll love it. You should do your thesis on it. Dating an African American. Do your thesis on it. I'll say it again. Do your thesis on it. And then enjoy yourself. But when you get married, make sure it's someone who's not a Jew, a Gentile, with a clean undercarriage. And when you get on ribeye with Tom Shalhoub, make sure that the Levy Jew does not hit on you. The one who looks like Jack Lemmon in Glengarry Glen Ross. If anything, you'll have to marry Roger Ailes. You'll need some help getting up his enclosure. You'll need someone to lift up that enormous belly. But if you open up that enormous belly and find Greta Carlson nipping on a little nipple that she uses for some sort of protein source, promise me you'll laugh. You'll laugh in the way we call our African-American male servants. You know how I handled Dalton. I told you, my great-great-grandfather told me when you address a darky, make sure it's firm but not patronizing. Listen how I talk to our darky Dalton. Oh, darky Dalton. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Dalton. Oh, Dalton. Where's my undercarriage washer? That's me, Miss. That be me, Miss Grandma. That's me, Miss Engart. You're washing my undercarriage today. Yeah. Is it Thursday already? That's right. Thank you so much for remembering the day I watched your undercarriage. It means so much to me and my family to know Miss Engart, to use one of the white folk that knows when I watch your undercarriage. Most white folks, they don't forget. Shut up. Shut up, Dalton. You're embarrassing yourself and your family. Have you met my daughter, the very amply bosomed, what's her name? Kimberly, Krista. We'll call her Krista. Have you met the amply bosomed Krista?
Kristen Tate is her name.
Kristen Tate. Oh, Tate is such a waspy. Oh, is that waspy? Kristen Tate is off the Mayflower, baby. Have you met the captain of the Mayflower? Yes, Kristen's great-grandfather was the one who forced your great-grandfather into saying his American name. Remember in Roots? One white gentleman was, I think as a matter of fact, it was the father of Jeff Bridges, Lloyd Bridges. Played in a wonderful fashion because he did not have a racist bone in his body. I knew the man. But he played the racist so well. He absolutely whipped a white name into that man, LeVar Burton. Not Richard Burton, LeVar Burton. And if you remember the scene do you remember the scene, young, what's your name?
Kristen Tate.
Do you remember the scene, young Kristen? We used to yell it to you. Well, remember when your father tried to beat God into you and your brother? What's your name? Kunta Kinte. Whap. No, it's Toby. Kristen, you do it. What's your name? Kunta Kinte. No, it's Toby. Whap. Wonderful. Don't let WAP become WAP. That's another time. That's for Italians. We'll get to that later. Remember this Italian joke, though. I love it. Did you hear about the bomb they dropped on Italy during World War II? It didn't blow up. It slid off the country. It was so greasy. Ha, ha, ha! Do you understand the joke, young Kristen? Yes. Italians are so greasy, their country was all greased up and the bomb slid off the country. Therefore, it didn't explode. Excellent. You know, of course, this isn't true. Yeah, it's just a joke. Exactly. Made up by Grandpappy Tate when he was dining with Mussolini and his young mistress, who were hung up by their ankles in Milan and beaten to death, drawn and quartered. Their bowels removed. I remember. Now get back to this young gutter snipe who needs his American name. What's your name? Good to Kente. Whap! No, it's Toby. And after a while, you know what he said? Toby, Bobobi, banana, fana, for Bobby. Fee, fi, for Bobby, Toby. We beat it into him. And the great-great-grandfather of you, and you can tell all the people you escort out of here, did that in real life to this gentleman here, our manservant. Dalton's great. Is that true, Mr. Ganglehor? Is that true, Mr. Tate? Is that true, Mr. Tate? Exactly. Do you know what your name is? That's right, Abernathy Tate. That's correct. Your name was originally Goomba Moomba. We didn't like that name. I don't like it either. I like Abernathy Tate much better. Excellent. Kristen, would you like to take an example swap at him? Don't really hit the man. Try to come close. Here's your Tate whip. This is the Tate family whip. Oh, you're so wonderful for letting me... yes. Now, Dalton Abernathy. Yeah, what do you want me to do? Take your shirt off and hang yourself up by the stove. Okay, Miss Tate, whatever you want. And yet, let young Christian here whip your American name into you. I'm Abernathy Tate. No, I'd like you to be called Dalton. Why? Because my old manservant was Dalton. And I'm moving in here. I'd prefer if you go by Dalton. But I like Abernathy. Nobody cares what you like. Do you see a theme going on here? Okay. Now, do you know what to do, Kristen? Yeah. Let us know when you're hung up. As a ready. Go right ahead. What's your name? Abernathy. Whap! No! It's not Abernathy. What's your name? Whap! Abernathy! No! Kristen, timeout. You hit him before he answered. That's a mistake we make. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, watch your ass, bitch. What did you say? Nothing. Okay. Yeah, don't hit him before. It's very ineffective. What's his name supposed to be again? Oh, very simple. Dalton. Okay. What's your name? Dalton. Nice. Yeah, we's a lot smarter than the old days. One hit and you got it. Wonderful job, Miss Tate. You can have any job you want in the organization. Yeah, in fact, should I give him one last whip for good? No! Dalton, it's not your decision. All right. I won't hit him anymore. What a wonderful family. What a wonderful family. Now, tomorrow we'll whip a clean undercarriage into you. No, I was fine. I was clean undercarriage without your help, if you don't mind. Is that okay with you, Kristen? You're officially his boss. I'm fine with that. That's fine. Great. One big happy family. Now, what do you do tomorrow, Kristen? You get up and do what? Wash my undercarriage. Wash your undercarriage. And then what do you do? Tell Dalton what to do for the next 12 hours. Exactly. Dalton, you up for this? Oh, I was always up for it. Sure, Miss Tate, sure. Excellent. Well, Kristen, thank you. Get a very, very scantily clad dress on and get over to ribeye. Did you get your official notes for ribeye? Yeah. Dalton, could you help her with her ribeye answers? Okay, I got some of the notes here. I'll help you out. I'll be the segment producer. I'm your segment producer. Oh, wonderful. Don't get too crazy. We don't need your input. Okay, the first subject is Trump flip-flopping. On what? The issues. To help you, we've got Herman Cain. Herman Cain with a, how does Herman Cain? Yeah. I came back for money to do this segment out of sham. I open up pizzerias. Now, I'd like to seduce your mother with a slice of pizza. Would you like any pizza? Are you talking to me? Yeah. Would you like some pizza? I don't know what pizza is. Pizza. Godfather pizza. Sharon, you knows what pizza is. Usually young. Yeah, I'll take this, Mom. See, she knows what it is. I'd like to have your ass. You's hot. You gonna get my Herman Cain. That's quite enough, Mr. Cain. One big happy family, but very, very white and very black. We don't want any coffee in the cream. At Brightpot. I understand, but listen, you know what you want over there? It's some pizza. Some pizzeria. The next segment's what? Who is Steve Bannon? Good fucking question. Who gives a rat's ass? I'm Herman Cain. I'm out of Cheyenne. I open up Godfather Pizza out of Cheyenne. So this chick, I'm going to say she's 5'2". I'm going to say she's 5'2". She has that snobby, like, fuck off. Fuck off. I'm so snobby and better than you. I'm better. I'll tell you what to do. Me. Before you do anything, check with me. And I'll tell you what to fucking do. Do you know why? My uncle was on Schindler's List and Angie's List. Enough said. I'm coming for you, Kristen Tate. Believe me. I've been around for a long time. I'm 48 years old. I can get on any show you're on with a phone call. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm watching the show going, hey, this show's kind of funny. I'm watching Joe Matarici's open for me for the last 30 years. I'm going, well, I haven't gotten a call here. Maybe Shalou doesn't like me. You never know what you say. You never know what you say to piss people off. I don't know. I don't remember even meeting Shalou, but maybe I did and said something terrible because I've done that before. I've said terrible things. I told you, Michael Patrick King was the most powerful gay guy in HBO in 2004 because he created Sex and the City, directed their movies. He was unbelievably powerful. And Sarah Jessica Parker, him, and a few other people were sitting in the front row, second row, of a stand-up show I did at the Aspen, Colorado Comedy Festival for HBO in the winter 2004. And they were there to see Mario Cantone, or not Mario, or somebody else we were doing a special with. Caroline Rhea. It was Caroline Rhea, me, and another great another great female comic who I should know her name. I'm fried. But she was amazing. Two smart, funny people. And I'm in the middle or something. And I do my set that I do at a rated R comedy club. And I believe I said cunt in the first 2 seconds. Okay. And then I believe Michael Patrick King, this unbelievably powerful, very talented gay guy, said something. And trying to be ironic, like I was at the Funny Bone in Cincinnati or something, I said, hey, buddy, I smell dick. Did you burp? God, what a bad move. This Herman Cain, that was a bad move. Yeah. It just wasn't appropriate. It would have went over big at legs and eggs. I mean, the dead silence when I tell you. The silence was deafening. My manager, Peter Picciapato, ran over to me and said, oh my God, you've ruined your career. Did you hear the silence? You killed the room. You killed the room. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to get the pancakes. And then afterwards, Sarah Jessica Parker, who's, by the way, too thin for my liking in person. In the movie Honeymoon in Vegas, I would have came on the screen. But I don't know, she lost some weight. I don't know. Matthew Broderick thing's kind of creepy. I saw him wearing clogs once playing pinball in Hell's Kitchen at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. I was with the jerky boy, what's his face? Kamal. After every single Stern show from beginning of my career at Stern, 2002 to maybe 2006, 4 straight years, I met Kamal after the show at noon, and we had lunch at 3 different places in Hell's Kitchen. And busted on people walking by, like people watching, for 3.5 hours. I still to this day, I've never had so much fun. Making about 40 G's a week. Stand up. What a great time. But yeah, I saw Matthew Broderick in clogs playing pinball. And like, I'm a big fan of his. He's fucked some of the hottest chicks ever. That chick when he killed those people in Ireland, right? He was with a... Right? He was drunk in Ireland. I think he was drunk, and he was driving drunk in the middle of the night. Maybe drunk, I'm not sure, but he was driving, and he had a car wreck, and he was doing something wrong, and killed a couple, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they died. They had the Howard used to call up Matthew Broderick. I'll never forget this. I listen to Howard. He used to call up Matthew Broderick at his answering machine, and if he didn't pick up, he would leave a car crashing. That's what the Stern Show used to be, guys. That's before he wanted to go to Matthew Broderick's wedding, probably. He would call up Broderick in the middle of that controversy and leave a car crashing.
Oh.
And we knew for a fact, I wasn't there yet, but he knew for a fact it was his number. Matter of fact, you heard his voice on the voicemail. It's Matthew, leave a message. It's Matthew. I'm getting ready to start a play you'll never see that has a feminine overtones. I play a guy who's a young-faced boy with a big little Mackie cabbie hat on and a big smile. Like something that's secret just happened. That's what the Stern Show used to be. He left a message and people yelling and screaming. I think it's accurate to say he killed 2 people, Matthew Broderick, and I don't think he's been back to Dublin since. But what piece of ass he got, right? Pieces of ass. The Footloose chick or the fucking what chick? What chick from what movie was she in? The dancing movie, Dirty Dancing. What was he in with Matthew? Dirty Dancing. Joel Gray's kid, Jennifer Grey. Fuck Jennifer Grey before she had the nose job. When she was hotter, she looked better with the Jewish nose. Dan, your thoughts?
I think
right?
so.
She was younger.
Yeah,
very sexy. I love Jewish noses or Italian noses. Italian noses too. Who, quite frankly, like when they're blowing you, it hits the bottom of your stomach. Like when a girl has a big Jewish or Italian nose, and they're blowing you, and they can't find the right angle because your stomach's big enough to where their nose keeps hitting it. They can't go down fully on your cock because their nose keeps hitting your stomach. I love that. I love it. Like part of the nose goes into your belly button. I used to put Coke in my belly button, and while a big nosed chick was blowing me, she would get it out of there. She would get it out of there like an anteater.
Oh, God.
Take that, feminists. I would put cocaine in my innie. I enclosure. I would put Coke in there. I make sure I'd get it up. I'd hit it good with the credit card so it's all powder. And make sure it stayed in there. Oh. And then while she was blowing me, the tip of her nose would go into it, and she was able to get some of it out. I'll never forget that chick. Her name was Lisa Edelstein. Not the actress. The greeter at the Tropicana Diner. Not Lisa Edelstein you're thinking of. Mine. No, I love that. That ever happened to you, Dan? When a chick's nose so big in it? And your hair probably went in it?
Oh, I thought you meant the cocaine.
No, did you ever have where her nose hits your stomach?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Didn't.
Yes.
No, it didn't. You don't have to say yes to that. Yeah, when did it happen? It never happened.
I dated a girl with a large nose.
Oh, come on. You dated Tony Bennett? I'm talking about a chick with a nose like Tony Bennett.
I've dated girls with big noses.
You've never dated girls. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get a reaction out of you. I'm trying to get your face out of the computer. Did you ever date a chick whose nose was hitting the computer and she wasn't laughing at you? Yeah, I love it. I love the big nose chicks. But I saw Matthew Broderick in clogs playing pinball on like a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, so we had a lot of fun. Clogs! And so Michael Patrick King and backstage, what is the other girl? I got to think of the other. She was dating Jack Black forever. She's so fucking funny, too. I'm a fan of hers, and she was the headliner, too. Caroline Rhea. No, I'm sorry. The girl, Caroline Rhea, then me, then this girl. She was dating Jack at the time. I say Jack. He was in the audience, too, and he was mad at me. Everybody thought I purposely did it again, like Joe Buck. I didn't. I was trying to get half of the room who were locals were laughing, but the other half, I smelled dick. Did you burp? That's out of line. I would not have done it. And I did it for an ironic sort of reason. I would not have done it under any context if I knew Michael Patrick. I just wouldn't have. I would have. Dan, you know me. Would I have done it?
No.
Well, bad question. I think you probably would think of reasons. And you're right. You can't honestly answer that.
Because you'd want a guest shot on Sex and the City.
I know I wouldn't. Do you know I got one offer? This is a true story, and I'll end with this. We're going long, but it's a true story. I was offered one audition for Sex and the City. One. And the character didn't have a name yet, but it had a character description. I'm not kidding. Description of the character. The one guy in New York who the slutty chick wouldn't fuck. You know the chick I'm talking about, Samantha?
Yes.
That's the description. The one guy in New York.
That's the description?
Yeah, of the character. Oh. Guy in New York that even she won't fuck. That's the name of. How the character was described. I yelled at my manager Peter for even sending it to me. I said, Peter, why don't you go ahead and get the pancakes? Why don't you play this fucking part? Samantha won't fuck me. And then, first of all, the guy who played the guy who ended up getting a character actor, I don't know his name, disgusting looking. We loved. Was I supposed to do something that we didn't do? We didn't do it. We got to everything right.
Yeah, we didn't do. Yeah,
we
had the Katy Perry song.
What was the first half of the show? Oh, the Katy Perry song. I mean, Dan won't admit it, but he loved it. Yeah, he still loves it. And that hot chick. What's your name, Mr. Tate?
Stacey Tate.
Stacey Dash. Kate Tate. What's her name? Tate.
Tate.
Kristen Tate.
Kristen Tate.
Oh, well, it's worth it for her, man. And I'll give Shalou's show Red Eye a plug. Watch it. Again, I feel I'm good enough to be on it. I mean, if Matt Reese is on.
Oh.
But, maybe they don't like me. But that's very true. They could like me. I'm not being sarcastic. I do. I watch her. I like it. But that chick is smoking. So watch it for her. And watch it for the great Joe Matarese, who I watched the episode he was on. Some amazing observations about politics. All right. I mean, on Joe's part. I will say this before I leave. I'll join in on the prayers because the great Judd Apatow did a great, maybe the best 30 for 30 ever. Doc and Daryl. I'm not kidding. Not because Judd was involved. It's Doc and Daryl about Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry and the Mets in '86. What an amazing documentary. The best 30 for 30 I've ever seen. And it's relevant now, unfortunately, because I guess Strawberry's reaching out to Doc Gooden. He's not showing up for events. They feel he's going to die soon. The picture of Dwight Gooden on the cover of the Daily News on this Saturday, April 23rd, the year of our Lord, 2016. It's actually August 23rd, isn't it? Okay. Tuesday, August 23rd, year of our Lord, 2016. All right. The picture of Dwight Gooden, he's in basketball shorts and a Guinea t-shirt, and his face is skeletal. Again, he looks like Marlon Brando after he leaves the Fortress of Solitude. If he were black.
That's really sad.
It's sad. It's as sad gets. Darryl Strawberry is the good news version of it. He's the story that turned out great. Not only did he find a girl in recovery who's beautiful, by the way. Blonde chick, white, whatever. We'll get to that. No.
She's got a clean undercarriage.
Undercarriage. That's how Kristen Tate talks. I guarantee she has a mother who goes, wash her undercarriage. And I don't know. And Strawberry looks good. He put on a little weight, but healthy weight. Like he enjoys a steak every once in a while. And he owns 2 rehabs in Florida, I think. Like he's a success story. But Gooden's the other way, man. And it's a way I easily could have gone and easily could go. You're not stronger than this thing, man. But he looks like a crackhead opening the door for a Domino's pizza delivery man that he doesn't have enough money to pay for it. I'm not even trying to be funny. I've been to rehab with these guys. He looks like he's about to die. The guy who might have had the single best fastball curveball combination ever at the age of 19. I first saw his fastball and curveball 1984 on the news, Channel 11, the legendary Jerry Gerard, who did sports on Channel 11, the guy who said the joke, hockey season started, opening day, he said, hockey opened today, that's the league in the NHL, that's the league where they play 80 games to eliminate Winnipeg. Everyone made the playoffs, the joke there. Dan giving it the thumbs up, giving it the Johnny Carson A-OK line of this generation. Dan going, But, again, Gooden looks like he's about to die. It's so sad. He was, young kids, he was so fucking good. Jerry Gerard, that guy I just talked about, said, that's Hall of Fame stuff. He said it. That, guys, you're looking at Hall of Fame. It's almost as sad as the little kid sitting in the ambulance in Syria. I'm putting it up there with that. All right, it's not as sad. Dwight Gooden, you're allowed to laugh, Dan. Are you feel uncomfortable to do anything now? Like,
Yeah, I do.
okay, all right. So that's not funny. What I just said. It's too dark. I apologize. It's too dark. I'm looking at it right now. This kid is so sad. I was making a joke. I was exaggerating. Comedy is you exaggerate. It's not as sad, Dan. It's like, yeah, I'll do a disclaimer. It's not as sad as the poor kid, but it's sad because it's good. I'll explain why. I don't want to get offended anybody. I'll explain why. It's not as sad because the serial kid represents a lot of people dying. Good is just one guy, but it's a death of a guy I loved. So it's not as sad, but very sad. Especially in the New York area. I mean, he was lights out, man. That 85 season, I hate the Mets. I hate them, especially in 85. I bet against them. I bet against them as a Yankee fan. I protested. I said Guidry's better than Gooden. The 78 season Guidry had, the 25-3 season, 1.74 ERA. I argued Gooden wasn't as good at 24-4. Slightly better record, but I think he had a 1.4 ERA. I think his ERA was 1.4, lower than the 1.8. Again, the strikeouts, whatever. As good as you get. And again, watch the 30 for 30. It's on demand. That Judd produced, directed by the same guy who did the Bo Jackson 30 for 30. Unreal. Doc and Darryl, check it out, and then read the Daily News today. The cover, and I think yesterday, it had a big thing that Strawberry said, I'm worried for him. I think he's going to die, and he might.